First of all, let me get you introduced a little bit. So, for the people, another account review, you know what we are doing anyway, because you've been watching this for quite some time. We're going to put up some light. And first of all, my dude, how do I address you? Do I address you as Moria? Do you go by any other names?
Just call me Rena.
Rena, all right, very good. So, just get you introduced a little bit. You got yourself a level 94 account, and you said something along the lines like you lost a little bit of trust on your main team, and no real clue on where to go next, right?
Pretty much.
Okay, very good. So let me just go through your account for a little bit and see what we're rocking with. We got a 144 days play. We got a platinum 2. So it doesn't look like you PvP much. Is that correct?
No, I don't PvP much.
Okay.
I'm more into the PvE aspect of it.
Fair enough. Is there like a reason why you don't PvP?
I guess because I felt like I would have time to build a decent PvP team down the road.
Okay. Good. Because nowadays with the new introductions of more additional rewards, getting into PvP is definitely worth your time and your effort. But for what I can see, 5-star unique weapon, artifact 3-star, unique treasure is a 5-star. So pretty good for these amount of days, man. That's awesome.
That's pretty lucky.
And then the characters that you're rocking with, Panzeron. I might see where this is headed. Okay, get yourself in a solid 5-star as well. Glenwith, Evan, Rohartna. Okay, Valence. For some reason you got the UT3 up to a 3-star. Any reason for that?
On which one?
Valence.
I'll be honest, I just asked somebody in the chat and they said that was the one was the best.
Okay. Find them, slap them, because it's not the right one.
Alright.
That's okay. Like,
Will do.
let's see. I found another thing that was interesting because you got a pretty high upstart Lowman. How far are you into Apocalypseon yet?
I haven't tried yet because I tried and I got absolutely destroyed. So I just go back in.
Yeah, I can imagine because I'm not sure. Have you seen the previous account review?
No, I have not.
Okay, so
It's late for me.
I can understand because it's quite early for me right now after I did it yesterday.
Fair.
But either way, one of the tips that I try to give people is that if you can do Apocalypseon, that's at least 1 or 2 unique weapons or unique treasures every single week, and that is something that if you pass upon that is so bad. So if you could, and I think your account is looking quite okay, to try and start building for that, because for one, your Loman is already pretty good. But the real question is your damage dealer. Like, you pretty much lost faith in Panzeron, right?
Yeah.
And where are you?
That would be my main one.
Yeah. So where are you struggling, basically? Where's the struggle?
I feel like the struggle is that, like, first of all, I know I have to move her over to like Galgoria set, especially because I'm planning on using Valence. Because I just like the character, I like how she plays, and I just don't really know like how to transition from the stats I have now to the stats I have access to with Galgoria. Mostly because the lack of 2 extra stat lines just confuses me.
Like that. So let me double check for that. Because
I have a lot of Galgoria boxes, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I already saw part of the inventory and I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. So, and how your unique treasures. So you got the cooldown reduction one, which is quite interesting because Panzeron can actually clear Apocalypseon from what I've heard. I haven't done it myself because I broke down mine because, well, I'm not really that much of a Panzeron fan anymore. Used to be because she was great on all continents. She still is, but yeah, that's just my humble opinion. If I have to give you 2 routes, let's say we can make you another DPS and forget about Panzeron, or we could try and make her do everything. Like, which route would you rather take?
Depends on which the other DPS is.
That's a good question.
The one thing is that I want my main DPS to be a waifu.
Ay,
I know this is retarded in terms of game logic.
ay, no sir, no sir. I get that because here's the thing. I go by this one standard that's called fuck the meta and pick whatever you like, and for a reason, because people generally build meta, then don't get involved within their characters, don't get attached to them, and at some point just really quit the game. So if you go for waifus, do that. I have a deal with like big heading dudes for no reason.
Yeah.
That's why I play Chase mainly, and yeah, that's why I still go with the guy.
Right,
So
my biggest attachment to a character is to isolate.
Ay,
That's all. That's my biggest attachment to a character. Because
Yeah, I
went
get-
to King's Raid when she was released and because she was released.
oh, I get you on this one, fam, because the moment she came out, like starting from the teasers and everything, oh, she looked so great.
Yeah.
It's just so bad that her whole kit turned absolute ass.
Yep, I know. I remain faithful.
Oh man,
I try to make her work the best I can.
honestly, like I think within a few, she's going to get buffed down the line, because the fact that Yana got buffed, and now people are crying for a solid. This is bound to happen. I'm not sure whether it is in the next 3 or 4 months, but it will happen. I'm pretty positive. Which is also one of the reasons why I'm sitting on a A1 plus 10 4-star unique weapon or so. So I will be rocking her as well. So we're gonna keep this one in mind, because I feel like down the line, if we start investing into another DPS, you might not have the funds to get that solid up once and if she gets buffed, even though that might be like 6 months within time.
Whenever
Right?
it is, the faithful shall be rewarded.
Hey, that's the way it is, man. No other way. All right. A few things that I need to double check before we get into this, because you have a few characters, or you don't have a few characters, which I would definitely recommend. Okay. You got yourself a startup on Estelle, which is pretty good, and you need yourself Isaiah the moment you want to do Apocalypse. And if you don't have that character, there will be a big world of hurt and you will die. Like that much is a guarantee. You got a nice amount of artifacts and everything hoarded. That is
Yeah.
beautiful. I like that. So
Yeah, that's because I was unsure of what to do, so I was like, might as well just keep them, because I can just use them whenever I know what I'm doing.
awesome. You got some shockmask stuff, reheat or repeat stuff. I wouldn't generally use them anyway. But I think the one thing that we need to do right now is try to figure out how to build your pansy toward anything great, because you got so much stuff for you to work out, and I hope you got enough time, because there's so many
That's
things
fine,
that we can.
I got it in the entire morning, it's all good.
Awesome. So I'm gonna look at some of your artifacts, because there's some things that I want to get out of the way, because a lot of people don't know which Vel'Koz artifact they should be going for. But especially for the newer accounts, if you have that, we're just going to clean your inventory first for the short versions. And the other question is, are you a gambler or not?
I'm spending a few bucks.
No, just in a general sense. Like if you look at the stream, I'm not sure if you have that open yet. I got this Infernal Whip right on, and upgrading this is definitely valuable. It's one of the best artifacts when it comes to scoring content. Let's say world boss, let's say any types of other stuff. But here I got the option. I got it 50%, and the smartest route that I also addressed to the dude previously was to get this one to 2-star. Going the 100% route might seem the pussy way out, but
I'm cool with gambling.
he said he's cool with gambling. Okay, so in contrast,
on my first account, I was main DPS Kersey, just because I was still trying out the game and all that kind of shit. And Kersey was cool, and I got from 0-star to 5-star first try with 25% every time.
oh yo,
I'm cool with it.
that's some kind of luck, man. So let's hope that we didn't use up all that luck and just give it a shot.
We'll see.
Let's go. Let's see. Yes, sir. The dude is right. Okay, so we might be looking at another lucky account. I'm gonna try this one as high up as possible. So 0 to 1 quite easily. 0 to 2. Okay, now this one could still end up being a 4-star if we are lucky. Unfortunately, luck hasn't been on our side just yet. Hopefully it's just a 3-star and it doesn't fail more often. Well, streamer luck doesn't prevail today. At least a 3-star. Yes, okay. That is still pretty good, unfortunately. So for the people who don't know, up to 3-star you use only 0 stars. And then from 3 to 4 you use a 1-star. Then from 4 to 5 you use 2 2-stars, 1 1-star. There is 0 stars for those of you who don't know. So that one didn't really turn out the way I was hoping to, but hey, it's the luck of the draw, man. You should have seen how mine went, because that was even worse. And like I said, I'm just cleaning inventory just to see how far we can get into this. That is a Zephyr. That's pretty good. Proteanus. Unfortunately, with the Proteanus ticket, there's not one that I like over here. If it was in the Ornament of the Deep, that would be better. But the Guardian Crystal of the Deep can be useful in some content.
I think I have enough currency for another boss artifact, by the way.
Awesome. Okay.
I think so, if I remember correctly.
And you said something along the lines like you are not really a PvP player. Would you consider it?
Not really, not yet. I think I would consider it like when I have a PvE team that's capable of clearing everything, because PvE is my main thing in every gacha-ish game.
Okay, very good. So at least we know with that, that's pretty good. You get yourself a Blessing of Earth, which is obviously a good artifact, but for now it will not be enough. So the one thing that I would always emphasize on is with the Shockman tickets, if you go purely PvE, the Otherworldly Sword, if you get 3 of those, get that one into a 2-star if we are lucky, then you have a pretty good artifact for World Boss 1 and World Boss 3. Unfortunately, this thing gets dispelled on World Boss 2, so it isn't all that great, which gives me the tendency to say, oh, I'd rather have the Otherworldly Helm, and that might be better. And another reason, because if you can kill Apocalypsion, then you get yourself an artifact that stays. It doesn't get dispelled, and investing into that one will then result, and you already have this one, into a lot of extra damage. And it is quite equal to the Fantastic Hybrid Book of Animals, only 5% difference. So I found that I'd rather not even take the Shockman swords nowadays, because of the return investment. However, since you are a pure PvE player, we are going for the Shockman swords, and you'll have to find out within the world bosses which one of them is better. So you can try the Dragon Doomstone yourself and then use the Shockman Otherworldly Sword, because I'm not sure about the actual numbers on which one is better at where. I know for sure that the Shockman swords get overpowered basically at World Boss 3 because of the time window that you have, because it's lower than World Boss 1 instead. So that is something that we can work on, and the Otherworldly Helm will allow you to start out on your PvP side of things. I saw that you have your Shockman already. That's pretty good. I like that. And let's see, what else do we have? We have a lot of unique weapon tickets, and I'm thinking we might have to increase our Estelle, and double checking how was your Lias.
Yeah, Estelle was one of the ones that I was already thinking of upping. That's why she also has a skin. I generally get like skins for those that I'm thinking of using.
Awesome, that's the way to go. So let me see, because Lias is now one character that will allow you to do Apocalypsion. That's the main reason. So Lias, we could increase her unique weapon depending on how far we can get with her, but the one thing that we definitely do need is get her some gear that will allow her to get more beefy, and the rest of the team more beefy included. So I already see you have 5-star Dark Legion tickets summed up, so that is something that we can look at then after, but the main focus will still be Panzeron as of now. You got some soul weapons left. That makes me wonder, how is your May Do you have May?
No, I do not.
Okay, sir, we are going to try and fix that first, because May is that one character that will beef up your account like in numerous ways where you'll be surprised how good it is. So let me double check. How far are you on this one?
With May, I don't think I even started her whatsoever on this account.
Nope. Okay, looks like it. Then, because we have some luxury, have you done the Thanksgiving events?
I've been doing them, yeah. I've been doing them, yeah.
Awesome. How far did you get?
I get to about like 240 kills per.
Pretty good, my friend. Pretty good. So let me go ahead and do this one first, so we can get ourselves our May. Because May is one of those characters that if you end up building her, she will help you out so much that it has no equal. Your wall boss will increase significantly. All of the other stuff will as well. We got to get ourselves. Somebody said that a net is actually better, since we can just keep repeating this stuff.
Using Lavril, May, Cassandra, and Artemia, I think it was.
Yep. So this is about the best team that you can use for this. But somebody told me like, oh, you could use a net actually, and well, we're gonna try this once.
Yep.
This was the proper method again. I'm gonna auto net because, well, she basically does everything. And we are going to see how well this works and if this works at all. But I'm assuming it does. I don't like the attack speed on this. Seems a little bit slow. There you go. Single target. We might take a little bit on this, but I think this might be interesting for the boss itself. We can speed up. That's the reason why the attack speed seems so slow. We were not on the 1.5 speed. Just kill it. Alright, this seems quite abysmal. I like May a little bit better. Buff is running out. Here you go. Yeah, with this attack speed, like going over 200 is the one thing that you need, but I don't know who told me this, but I don't like it. Like, is it working? Yes, but is it optimal? I don't think so. But we might be looking at something neat right over here. This is gonna take forever if I gotta do this again. You fine with me taking up any score over 200?
Are you sure?
Cool.
I doubt there's any way that I'm not gonna get all the rewards anyway, so.
Yeah, that's true. Like, we are going to get that for you anyhow. There you go. Over 200, that's good. Can we get over 250? That would be nice. So yeah, I think May is still the best one on this. Okay, that's pretty good. With May, I get 300 plus every single time. My Drago is showing off. What do you do for this? Like, it really doesn't matter, because if you get over 200 a day every single day, you get all the rewards anyhow. So this should be fine, and this will in turn allow us to get May. May is one of the strongest NPCs, and another character that would be highly requested onto any account would be Nikki. Do you have her by any chance? Nope. Okay. I'm a little bit double-edged on this one, because Nikki will allow you to get your stock aid, but since I see you have a lot of gold, you can literally postpone the parts of that. So May would be then the first character that we get, and the next NPC that you should be focusing on is Nikki, because Nikki will then give you like 50% increase on both your gold income and the rest of the income as well, which is if you pass up on that, that is a really, because it's daily, right? So
yeah, of course.
So that is something that you shouldn't be passing upon. And do you consider yourself to be a spender within this game?
In terms of money?
Yep.
If I feel like I get my value out of it.
Awesome. So that's a very good statement. So as long as you get value, we're doing good. Wow, we got ourselves some Technomagic experiment reports. And how much Reforce tickets do we have?
About 300 something.
Oh, we are going to build you some Panzer today, my friend.
Yo.
This is going to be fire, man. Like I know for sure that we can optimize this stuff. Honestly, like Panzer fell off the meta just quite a bit, but since I'd rather have you transition into a solid and once she gets buffed, it seems to be like the better option that we have, since you already have her at A220. So that is pretty good. Oh, limited costumes. These ones don't give any gold. Cosmos of a White Flame. Oh, you're a Panzer player and you didn't use this one?
Which one?
Did you see this outfit for Pansy?
Oh shit. Probably not.
Okay.
Probably completely skipped it because I was doing all the I was doing all the things at once on that NPC with all the previous characters.
No, that's alright.
Yeah, I guess I just passed on that one by accident.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So for starters, we are going to increase that May. This might take a little bit.
Yes.
So I am going to do something that. Let me double check.
Thank you for finding that pansy skin though, because it's my favorite. No.
That's not right, brother. Like if you just do these things or because the skin is no, I don't think you actually had to do anything for it. So it got sent to your inventory. You probably clicked over it and.
Yeah, most likely just passed on it. Like I just clicked over it. Yeah.
That could be highly likely. So. Do you know how May works, by the way?
I did have May on my first account, so yeah, I have an idea of how she works.
Awesome. Because, like I said, she is by far one of the most interesting characters when it comes to increasing all of your robust capacity.
Yeah.
She's very, very good in use in Eclipse nowadays. Because yesterday I've been running her within a Lucicio team and nearly got to 80, which is a secondary team of mine. And that stuff is just worth investing into. The only downside is you don't have her unique weapon yet, which is also a pretty decent investment to make it up to 5-star. However, if you don't, it doesn't really matter. Just a 0-star will allow you to do whatever is necessary. But the higher up star that you have, the faster her skills basically become, because they have cooldown reduction.
Yeah, I remember.
So that is pretty good. But like I said, I'd rather have you have Nikki first before you go into the unique weapon part, and which is also one of the questions why I asked, like, yo, are you a spender? Because buying yourself NPC unique weapons is super easy nowadays. They are, well, a pretty decent bang for your buck.
Look into it. I think the one thing I was considering maybe would be an okay investment was the Battle Pass artifact rewards.
Awesome. Yep.
But I don't know if they are that needed compared to what I already have.
One thing is, I have yet to see anything that exceeds the Battle Pass. Like, the Battle Pass is probably your best bang for your buck, even though it changes every single month. If you want to spend on this game every single month, that is the best. Like, I really cannot consider anything better, because the artifacts itself are amazing, both even PvE and PvP.
Yeah.
and it would be such a waste to pass upon, like, honestly.
Yeah, fair. My guess was correct then.
Yep.
Most games make the battle pass sort of not. You can't really skip it.
Yeah, like they make it in a certain sense broken, so they have a basic income. It's the smartest way to do. Like from a financial standpoint on their side, a battle pass is smart.
Yeah.
So a little explanation for the people on what I'm doing right now, because there's a hidden gimmick to this, and a lot of people watch my streams already know this, but we're not seeing any transcendence scenes. Reason why is because if you press the back button while the scene actually starts, you can skip the scene. This way it doesn't take ages to transcend your characters. So good. Matt Drago says NPC is way easy to get nowadays, which is true. Definitely. But it also depends on how far in your account is. So here I hold the max purify, I click on transcend, hit the back button, skip the scene. Saves up a little bit of time on your day. But yeah, we are going to build a pansy. That's gonna be fun. So what made you choose pansy in the first place?
What made me choose Pansy? It was actually a very interesting turn of events. So I'm a Final Fantasy 14 player, and my raid team at the time, we all started playing King's Raid all together, just as an out of raid activity. And like I said, I was a Kersey main at the time, and there was this girl in my raid group that chose Pansy, and she was blowing Kersey out of the world in terms of damage, and I was like, fuck that.
This is bullshit.
Choose Pansy though. So I didn't restart the account. I still have my Kersey account because I really like Kersey. I plan to eventually go back to her when I have more knowledge of the game and try to make it work. But yeah, Pansy would be my go-to for now. I don't know, I also like her design. I actually didn't fall in love, but I definitely grew accustomed to her design.
So the question to me would be, is she waifu level, or is she not on the level of Isolde?
Shit, man. I think she has a waifu tier of her own, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like psycho waifus for me have like a tier of her own.
Oh, sir. I hope that is only in games, not in real life, because
no, only in games. Only in games.
Oh man, because it could get you into some trouble, man.
I already have that kind of trouble with my ex. I'm good.
Oh, he got too much of that.
Done that.
Ouch, that is rough,
my dude. Can actually say been there, done that.
That is rough, man. Like, I got a friend of mine currently into one of these relationships, and mind you, like, you probably have one of those friends as well that can only come home with a crazy girl, right? And
yeah, I do.
Like, you'd be surprised at the moment if he gets like the standard normal girl, and he comes home with her, and you're like, yo, this can never go right either way, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, like, it's crazy. But crazy girls aside, the one thing that I'm working on right now is Estelle. Estelle is one of those characters that, especially if you are a physical main, but I do believe on every other account, she is a character that is a must-have.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things I definitely tunnel visioned on was I'm physical, therefore I should only have physical characters. I think I tunnel visioned that a bit too much because I know Fallen Frey is good for everything.
Awesome.
I already planned on like building Fallen Frey. I think it was just like that fear of if I build her and I don't feel like I actually got the return of the investment of all the things I put into her, I'm actually just gonna stop playing again, and I don't want to stop playing again.
Okay.
So it was kind of like that. Let's just keep going and seeing what happens. Sort of feeling.
Okay, I get that fear, man, because I'm obviously at a different point of the game as you are, but the thing is, I'm currently facing like only League of Honor things, which means that it's like, oh, do I want to build this character? It will be good for my team, but what if another one comes out? What if another buff comes out? Like, will that in turn then wreck my investment? And I got several characters which I do draft, sometimes here and there, but most of the times I'm not even using all of those characters anyway, which is quite sad. But yeah, I get that fear, man. I've been sitting on my bank from quite some time, and then all of a sudden thought to myself like, yo, I actually want to play this stuff. Valance came out, purely invested into that one. So there are some characters that are definitely must-have. Fall of Frey is one of them, and I don't believe there will be a time where she will get pushed out, if not for somebody that has a bigger continuous uptime on a shield. But I don't think that will happen because we have too many of those characters anyway.
Yeah, that's a fair argument, to be honest.
Because did you look into Eclipse yet?
Depends what you mean by look at.
Okay, so I got a few things on a checklist on every account that I believe could skyrocket everything. So technically, if you could join the end game of some point, then the Divine Punishment raid, aka Apocalypsion, is a must-have. Once you can clear that, that's 1 or 2 depending on if you're willing to spend rubies, unique weapons, unique treasures every single week. The same goes with Eclipse. Not using these is such a waste, and trying to get your very first...
do Eclipse.
Yep, I see that.
I only have like one main team, I guess, which is the one where Pansy's on. They get the furthest, and then the other ones sort of just, I guess, decline as it goes down.
Because luckily we can now see how far your teams are headed and see if I have to give any additions. Because luckily I would consider myself more a Eclipse main than anything else. So the one thing that you want to do in Eclipse is you want to get your best team up to the highest possible wave, and Fallen Frey is one of those characters that will do the best for you, because her shield uptime is absolutely ridiculous. So she might even be the one character that we are going to invest into right away. However, since what I am feeling as well is that Fallen Frey is used in practically every content, she doesn't excel in every content, and that is one of the downsides which I have with her. So now that we got both Estelle and everything out of the way, we are going to hero achievements. We're gonna claim all of this.
I also have some tickets to like pass the enchanting level from a weapon to another, and from a treasure to another. I think I do, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So you can also use that if you feel like it's.
It really depends, because I did not see any. Because funny enough, I did not see many characters where I was like, "Oh, that's actually a shame." Nyla could be one that we could transfer, but nah, would be too much. Evan is a good character.
I think the only thing would be on normal Frey, because I have a 5-star weapon.
Yep, that will not be used. It's actually really good if you get to fully invest into Eclipse, but that would be the only thing that she would be used for. Anything else seems to be a little bit over-tuning things. How's your Galgoria, by the way? Because I see you clear it. Can you clear up to 4?
No, I cleared up to 2 only. I think there I'm at 232.
Okay, so the possible issue that you have is you lack a secondary DPS.
Probably. I mean, yeah. Let's just put yeah.
I think that would be the issue.
Something to say, but yeah, that would be basically it.
So the real question is if you want to go up higher than that, and I would for every account, getting up to 4 is like both the minimum and the maximum requirement. Right. Because once you get up to 4, you can get reclaim gear, and it will save you up a lot of stuff to then invest into. But
what is reclaim gear?
Okay, so if you go to the index, and you go to the item index, you go to general equipment. And once you click one thing, then you have several other pieces, and you get yourself what is called reclaim gear, which the let's say an armor for warriors gives you 53k defense, and if you check the normal one, it gives you 40. So the only thing that reclaimed is really giving a difference On the PvE side of things is the defenses, except for one thing that is very valuable. If you look at the attack coming from a earring, reclaimed earring on basic gives 37k, and the other one, let me double check if I can find this one, is 28. So if you max these things out, you can definitely increase your base stats by such a huge amount.
Okay.
So reclaimed gear is therefore one of the best, and we are going to use a Technomagic skill reforged ticket for that single purpose, because it will allow you to get the righteous things if we start building your pansy. This way it saves up for making any kind of reclaimed gear.
Yeah.
And it will just be really good overall. So that being said, you said you had a transfer ticket.
I think I do.
Unique treasure and a unique weapon. And now the bigger question to me would be, how much would you benefit from a secondary DPS? Because there are two characters that are piquing my interest right now. One of them is Estelle, because Estelle, once you get her to 5 stars, she's really good. But is she a necessity? Because the secondary DPS might help you out, but do you have any other DPS characters in mind that you might want to try out or want to build into?
Okay, so I was thinking of eventually just building a magic character for fun, but obviously not for like anything serious, so that's out of question. In terms of another physical, I know the Rebel Clause is pretty good, but he's not a waifu. So I know he's pretty good.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
But he's not a waifu, so no. In terms of another second DPS, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I actually wouldn't know what I would prefer.
Okay.
Like, complete honesty.
That's alright. That's alright. The real question is, like, what are these characters going to get you? Because there are obviously things that are best in slot. I cannot put it any other way. But Panzeron, for instance, is not the best Eclipse character. Celine, however, is. And she is one of those characters that can carry you through some challenge raids and some other stuff, which is really good. And the reason why you could pick Rebel Claws is to then try and transition into PvP, because he's quite easy to build, and even though Dosada still just blocks everything that he does, it is still a way for you to get into the PvP side of things. However, if you really want to abstain from doing that, then Celine so far seems the best bang for your buck, because Panzeron does everything that you already want to do. Does World Boss 3, not equal, but in a same manner can do World Boss 3 as well. And Rebel Claws will not get you there anyway. So in that sense, like, Rebel Claws would be better for World Boss 3. Could be quite interesting for Eclipse. But outside of that, what other content would you then be using him in? Because how far are you struggling with Shackman, for instance?
I would need to see it. I think I cleared 5 or 6.
6, 7, 8. Okay, so we are going to work on that, because I think your account should be able to clear up to 9.
I think, the reason why I cannot clear further is because my team just dies.
Yep.
That's obvious, that's why everybody fails. It's because their team dies.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. But sir, you
gigabrain analysis.
Yup, but sir, you are not wrong in that sense. So that being said,
I think honestly, if I were to build Fallen Frey, I think I would be able to clear 1 or 2 more of those.
Yep.
Because of the shields.
Yep. So that is one of those things that I'm currently edging toward, because if I look at your general account, we got something that we want to do here as well. And that is because of our hard note. we are going to put a few dragon drawings on her, because Rahardna is somebody said it yesterday, like Rahardna is probably Twi's favorite character in the game, and it's not even wrong, because she is that useful, man. She is absolutely crazy when it comes to just trying to get all of the content done. She's good for Eclipse, good in any other cases, attack reduces for no apparent reason, and once you get the dragon drawing, you will generally clear so much in terms of any kind of content. Which one is the best? There's none with attack, right? Is that one with MP? Nope. So unfortunately, not anything good. We're gonna make this up to at least a 3-star, because it's quite easy to do.
Yeah.
Or at least, well, we tried the 3-star on that whip, and that was not as easy as I cleaned it to be. Here you go. Oh my god, this is why I hate 1 to 2-star, man. Did not get the break-even point, and wow. Okay,
that shit happens.
I have no words. Okay, I'm assuming we need 2 for the next one, and then we can move up to the next. Because if you can clear Shakma up to the higher stages, then that basically means that you get more items. More items every single week, every single month. That is always worth it. And with Panzeron and all of the other characters combined, I do believe that you should be able to clear 9 quite easily. Like you said, you do die, however. Yo, let me not fail this one again. I've done this failure on a account review, and wow. Okay, getting up to 3-star seems to be quite the hassle. But then again, long-term investment, absolutely worth it. And like you said, once you get that Fallen Frey popping off, I just assume that she will do absolutely great for your team. I don't want to go any further up to 3-star, because you got more things to invest into, and 3-star is, in my opinion, still the easiest thing to get within the game. Yoink, finally. Okay, so that one took less long. I think we're at still break even at some point. We'll have to do the math to really check that out, but no need for now. Then we got ourselves Fallen Frey. And
one question actually, on the unique treasures, do like only the main one's skill buff is actually counter, right?
What do you mean?
Like for example with Rahardna, the one you just equipped, that makes it stack 6 times the buff?
Yep.
Doesn't it have to be the main one equipped?
Yep. So basically the one that's here on the top is the one that is effective. The other 3 are basically for stats. Yep.
Yeah.
Those are just there for stats.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Okay, so this is pretty good, getting a 3-star up on that, and then Fallen Frey will get you through the rest of the content. However, like I said, she's more of a generalist than a character that does anything specifically really good. We give it a priest, and let's say we are going to do a few of this, and I think up to 4-star would be good enough at the start, because you want to have yourself, if you want to have another waifu, Isaiah is another character that you want to have, because Isaiah will get you through Apocalypsion, because otherwise that breath will murder you, like no jokes. Yuck. Finally, something that worked in one go. Let's fucking go. Yo, if this works in one go, we might attend actually that 5-star. Yeet. Nope. Because 4-star, I think that would be the bare minimum. Oh my god. Please just hit that 4-star. So for today's streamer luck does not apply. I have my bad days. But yeah, Isolde is the, or not Isolde, Isaiah is that one character that you need for Apocalypsion. Because I'm not sure, have you seen what the boss looks like?
On your video about it, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, watch my videos, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, we're not having the righteous amount of luck that I would like. We could do this one thing that's called superstition, and that is log back in again and try to upgrade things even more.
I don't believe in that, but I mean...
Yeah.
If it makes it go.
Okay. That's one too many times. I mean, that's one too many times. Alright. Let's get that one out. And we're gonna log back in again because I just can't. But that being said, man, it's a little sad, but know that she will be worth your investment. The only thing that you will need at some point is some soul weapons. And the other question would be, do you have any characters that can clear Trial of Flow? I don't think so, right?
Is that the healer, the priest,
yep.
wizard one?
Yep.
My team for that is Mediana, Evan, Isolit, and Lias, I think.
Oh, you got Isolit. I forgot. She's capable.
Yeah,
that's good.
I think I'm clearing stage 5, I think.
Awesome. I think you can go higher if you build into Isolit just a little bit further, but that is something.
Honestly, again, I just don't know where to go with it, with the stats at that point.
Yeah, that's alright. Because I think, like for now, we are doing some general cleanup on your inventory. We haven't even started on the TM skills because that is where a lot of time will be invested into.
Yeah, that's fair.
And luckily, you do have a lot of gold, so we can play around with a lot of things. Because I've seen account reviews where, see, it works. Superstition. Yo, we get that one. We get that one-handed in us in our laps like right away. It's crazy. So then the best artifacts when it comes to Fallen Fray would be the UT2. Gives you more uptime upon the shield, and getting this one up to at least a 3-star is the bare minimum. So I'm gonna gamble on 7. It's a little bit of an investment, but along the lines, it's gonna be good. So we're looking at a main attack upgrade. Please let us have one. Last one. Damn it. So what would be the next best in slots? In all fairness, I would like to actually get another one to try and get ourselves the right line, because Fall of Frey, she scales with attack. The more attack that you have, the bigger your shield becomes, the bigger your survivability in the long run. Yeah. But since you got so many stats or so many reforce tickets, we could end up making this stuff anyway. 2-star in one hit. Let's go, baby. Come here. 25. Let me get the other one. Yup, 25 done. Yo, if I can get this one to a 4-star within just 7 pops, it would be great. Okay, that was one fill. See, logging out and logging back in. I'm not trying to breed any superstition to the people, but hey, we got the results here. It's crazy, but still we didn't hit the 4-star, so I should be taking back my words just a little. And when it comes to investment on a general sense, it's better to have more things at a 4-star than just one thing at a 5-star, in my opinion.
Yeah,
except for your main damage dealer, because if you want to go the 100% route, you take up 16 unique treasures. There we go. Superstition is working, baby. We got ourselves a 4-star. Beautiful. So the fact that these two things are now a 4-star gives you a very good investment character. Like, it will allow you to do nearly anything. And the next best thing that we should be going into is your Trial of Flow. The reason why, if you got your main damage dealer practically done, the next best thing that you try to invest into is get a very good Trial of Flow, because there are more supports than there are damage dealers. So once you get a good Trial of Flow, you can use that one to clear every single week if you are not sure what you're doing. Let me say that again. It's the best thing to do when you don't know what you're doing. Get yourself a good Trial of Flow team.
Alright.
And the way to do that is quite simple. You get yourself Lias, because Lias is the best character when it comes to Trial of Flow, and Apocalypsion as well. and the same goes for your Galgoria, because once you build her on fully magical defense, she will make the rest of your team beefy as hell. There's just literally nothing better than that. So get this one, a fully magical defense. And you might say like, oh my god, but please, why not just TM skills? Well, because we haven't seen any that could be useful. And this is gear that I still use on my account. So there's no way in shape or form that this one gets outplayed by anything else. It's really beautiful. And was that the right one? Yep, that was beautiful. So, and now all of a sudden you have another character that you can work with. Beautiful. You got Lias. And then we go end up equipping this. Lock it, just to be sure. For those of you who do not and actually destroy one of your things, my condolences. You could have worked that out. And there we go. To show where's the other one. There you go. Beautiful. Lock this one out. So Lias is another character that could definitely be worth your investment.
Yeah.
And we got to double check. Do you have? Wow, you got a legendary rune full magical defense. Taking that. Yo, what are the odds, bro? All of your legendary runes were nothing. Do you got some cocaine? He does have some cocaine. Awesome. Sir, don't do drugs.
Not in the sense of literally having some.
I'm not sure in your country, man, but if I go outside and just yell, I want some cocaine, dude, there will be somebody coming out of the bushes just running at me like, yo, shit, how much do you want, man?
Nah, I live in a village in Portugal. Pretty chill here. I would assume in Lisbon, it would be something like that, though, yeah. I would assume so.
Oh man, that would be crazy. So the one thing that I would like you to do is then use the legendary scrolls that you have remaining, because we are trying to transition into the TM side of things where these scrolls are absolutely useless except for this piece of gear. So we're trying to get ourselves all magical defense increase. And once we get that, we get over nearly 300 magical block, which will then transition or allow you to transition into the trial of flow up to maximum, because I've seen Isolets up to your investment that can already clear up 10. And like you said, it's all about your survivability. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, maximum HP roll, taking it. So far, no look. And this one, come here, magical defense. Maximum HP roll actually is not that bad. Because, well, if Lias is going to tank anyway, she might as well need some HP. So it's not necessarily bad. But if we have any scrolls left, I would like to re-roll it, because she's more worth on full magical defense. There you go, that's one magical defense on one, then I move up to the next, because especially if you are on a limited amount of scrolls, and we do have a lot if you look at it, but if you are on a limited amount of scrolls, it's better to give yourself that very first stat that you're looking for. Wow, another near max HP roll. Taking that. Beautiful. And honestly,
with the scrolls, I've been pretty lucky because I never actually farmed scrolls. I just use whatever I get from other sources, I guess.
Okay.
And I've been pretty lucky because I end up getting the stats I want anyway.
So far, your account sounds pretty lucky, my dude.
It is, man. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like the luck I have in this game is the luck I don't have in Genshin, so.
Oh man, but yo, Genshin is on a whole nother level, man. I cannot play that game.
I'll be honest, Inazuma has been pretty lucky for me. I got 3 Raidens in like 40 pulls.
Oh,
I've been pretty lucky in Inazuma.
Yep, that is quite lucky, my friend. That's quite lucky. Alright, so the one thing that we are now looking for, wow, you got an attack and mana recovery per second. You actually got some luck when it comes to Vel'Koz runes, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have luck with them. I just don't know what to use them.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yo, we are going to add some HP defense. This one is one of the best on lies. Technically, it would be attack defense, but for all I can tell you, this is quite lucky because this will allow you to go with a lower investment lies and then increase the overall capacity, because the HP that you have over here is already 5.1 million, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is definitely good when we're looking at the bright side of things. Attack would be good only if you have a high unique weapon, because it scales off the unique weapon, and since we don't have anything of that, it seems to be like a waste to get the attack and mana recovery per second, because this is one of the most valuable Valkazar artifacts that you can find in the game. Another defense slot would be quite good, but I don't want to have one that would take up much. Well, for starters, this seems pretty good. We could invest into her unique weapon just a little bit more, but for now, I don't think it will add much value to your account. But I'm already assuming this could clear up to 7 on trial flow. Do we have any ones left so we can check it? It doesn't look to be the case. That's alright, at least you cleared things. Now, can we... Okay, so here's one thing that you could do. Did you know about this reset?
Reset because the stream's a little bit delayed.
Okay, so once you do the trial of flow, you get 2 tickets every single week, but you can do a third by...
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that.
Okay, do you do that normally or not?
No. The reason why I don't is because I generally don't buy rubies. So I try to save rubies as much as I can, because if another waifu comes along with a pretty good skin at the end of all the pulls, I want to have enough.
Yep, I get that, my friend. I get that.
That's how I had enough for the Valence skin.
Now, I'm not trying to persuade you into doing PvP, honestly.
No,
but
that's fine.
here's the thing. You know how much rubies you can get from that?
I know how many rubies I can get from doing one fight a day, like one win a day.
Okay. I'm gonna show you
do that
a thing that might be piquing your interest, because since you play on the EU, I don't know how hard it is into getting into Masters, but the difference between the PvP that you already are doing, which is Platinum, and the Mastering that you could be getting, the difference is literally double the rubies. So that might take out the expenses, so you can increase your account even further. So it's something that you might want to consider.
I mean, if you like, do you think from the characters I have that I have like a decent chance at building a team with what I got?
I gotta be realistic. On the current meta, you might not have a chance.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
realistic is what I like, so that's all.
Yep. And for many reasons, because PvP is mostly depending on your artifacts or just having absolutely busted PvP characters. Because Rebel Claws could technically get you into Masters quite easily, because if you just build the dude into an absolution of damage, a lot of newer players and their gear cannot deal with that kind of damage incoming, right? So this is where Rebel Claws comes in, but like you said, not waifu tier, so that's really not an option. The one thing that could be an option, or should have been a decent option, would be a super fast Panzerone S3, right? But to build that, you would have to get a specific artifact, and that would be, let me show it to the people, the best PvP artifact in the game. There is none better, and that is the Christmas Star Ornament. If you get this one up to a high star, that's an insta S3, and you will blow every candles out. It will be crazy, but that takes up a little bit of investment. But that is if you do want to start out in PvP. But looking at your account, it doesn't feel that worth it to start looking into PvP side of things.
Yeah.
That being said, we could be increasing more characters, but I think we are good for now. I would like to give you some homework at least, because I don't want to give you, or at least increase your Estelle straight away, but Estelle might be a character that once you start investing into her a little bit more, it will increase all of the rest that you are doing. The other part in which you said, because we were actually busy with Shockback, but I'm getting sidetracked, which I just normally do anyway. Let's go back to the Shockman part of things, because like I said, you should be getting up to 8 at least. I feel like we're gonna clear 7 first. I'm gonna give you a team that will work 100%. The one thing that you could also invest into is Glenwiz, because Glenwiz is the one character that will be used in Eclipse as well. Absolute gorgeous character. There's nothing better. Okay, we could have the experienced fighter, though increases attack defense. Well, we don't have much of the stats that might include this. Defense has no value over here. We go here, there, there, and then we go and look. What are you rocking? Well, that's one of the reasons why you die.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. I think we are going to look at how the team plays first, especially now that Fall of Frey is in there, and then see what we're lacking. Go from there. We got Valence up in the building. You don't have Lavril, it seems. It's not.
No, I do not.
It's not bad, but it could be a great addition towards your team.
Right.
But what do we use instead? You get yourself in a net, right? And not
Yeah, I do.
unfortunately, she's not geared, so it doesn't really add too much. You do, however, have a Mediana that was a little bit invested, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, I invested a little bit of building to Mediana, and then I was like, she just feels like a worse version of Fallen.
Ew, you are not wrong in that sense. Since everything is going to give you crits over here, I'm gonna use a thing that might increase your mana gain as well as your expenditure on this stuff. We are going to make sure that everything is set up here correctly. Luckily, you have a UT1 on Valence, which is one of the best things because it gives you non-hero damage. So there's a general rule of thumb is that ooh, you got yourself an earring. Hello. We are going to reforge this. So we were lucky to come by this one because I was looking for a reclaimed earring.
Yeah, I do have a reclaimed earring.
That would have given your Pansy some base stats that had no equal. Now, attack and critical damage are the same. I'm looking for 95% HP or a 3x12 damage. Right. Those would be the most optimal ones, and hopefully you do have enough reforged tickets. Now, technically, this could work as well if you look at the Eclipse side of things. But I'm not that much of a fan of doing that outside of it. Wow, we get a double roll. We do get a lot of attack status though. I should just shut up. Unfortunately, we are not getting lucky yet. Then again, it doesn't really matter because these reforged tickets will be given out anyway. Let's look at the other side of things because we could definitely increase your Pansy if we do some Technomagic identification. We got that one, that one, that one, that one. Do we have anything else? We don't seem to have anything. And like I'm doing it 2 ways basically. Because now we're doing the Technomagic Reforges part. But we could have gone the other route with, or could have gotten lucky with the other route where we could have gotten an earring that was straight away good. But since you got this many items, okay, so those are all ass. Okay. Where do we start out with? Well, for one, hoarding yourself gear is always good because the longer you play, the more characters that you will have to gear. Trying to find yourself pieces that are good is very hard, but once you get the right pieces, then you will just allow everybody to go up. Now, this one in particular is very good if you want to have your Estelle going up, because 2.5% damage upon the rest of your team will increase everything significantly. So that one will be automatically equipped to your Estelle. And obviously it's still not optimal, because normally any archer, if you want to do it right, takes up the Siegfried set. But I don't think you've been busy with that just yet, and it really doesn't matter, honestly. Let's level her up first. Luckily, we have the means to level her up.
Yeah, with like Galgori and all those fights, I was basically told that Galgori is the one that applies to most characters, like, or to a higher number of characters. So I was just, alright, well, I don't know what else to do. So
it's the best one to start out with, because
I was like, dispatch Galgori, go.
Yep. Like, if not just for the TM skills, the raw stats itself are really good. So this, I'm just going to identify everything, because you have a lot of gold, which could be...
Oh, you can spend the gold all you want.
Okay.
I generally don't have a use for it, so...
Now this is another particular one that is absolutely great if you keep it, and that is the cooldown 3 on a priest one. This can be used for your heart now, and this can also be used for your Mediana S3s. Absolutely gorgeous piece. Nothing else that you need, and here we go, critical damage increase upon the rest of the allies. That's really good. But we are going to go over to Rahart now, and I thought it was a chest piece, was it not? Hope it was, otherwise it looked like a dumbass. Cooldown S3, beautiful. Found that one, lock it down, because that is one of those pieces that will help you out tremendously along the way. Then we go further and beyond. I haven't found any single attack piece, unfortunately. So damage, cooldown 3, but this time it is on a warrior, so that's pretty bad. Cooldown S1 is pretty bad. Attack increase, continuous damage. That one could be decent if you make yourself a Requena, but yeah, it's not even optimal, if I have to say so. The priest ones are going to be the ones that could be super interesting if they have shield plus 25. Mage, defense down, attack up. This one could be used for your Assault, really good. Is it optimal? No. Wow, we got a priest with the reduction of damage. You gotta hate to see that type of thing happen. So unfortunately not optimal, but could be used. As for these, those will be used. Mage ones could be used to just survive. This one could be used. Then we are looking at the earring side of things, which could improve your damage. We got nothing. Cooldown 3. Okay, that's beautiful. This is a world boss artifact, so you either look for attack critical damage increase on the rest of your team, 2.5% damage on your main attacker for world boss 3, or this one, and you can never get enough of these. And the fact that it has a physical defense strat on it, that's quite beautiful. Damage that ignore defense, that's beautiful, because that can actually be put on your Assault. The 95% HP, oh God, why is that on a ring? Damn it. So we gotta go back and we got to double check, because we had one thing that was a very, and I mean very useful. Where was it? And continuous damage, CC inflicted. I don't care about those. It was a ring. There you go. Going to save this one up and put that on Estelle. So we got two pieces that are already useful without even looking at the bright side of things. Luckily the VOD will be posted, so for the people who have missed out on which things are better, guess what? I'm going to make a separate video on everything, because TMs, when it comes to transitioning into TMs, and I'm not sure how you feel about this right now, it probably feels overwhelming, right?
Yeah, I can definitely send that one.
Yep. Okay. This is a beautiful piece, actually. If you ever want to make Gladi, not waifu tier, obviously, but this one is really good for having very short fights. 25, 95 will increase your damage so significantly, so that is a must keep. This one we're gonna check. What was it? This one, that one. This one, we are going to keep that one. And then we start identifying some more. This one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And we can do a few more. For one, since you are using physical teams, going up for a necklace is a go-to, 100%. Because if you wanna, damn, the shield on the wrong character. That's sad. Oh wow, another cooldown 3, but this time on an earring, which is equally good, but then on Mediana. So that one is beautiful. We are going to take that one for sure. Where was that one? This one, yep. Cooldown 3 Mediana, because this one has higher base stats, but it doesn't necessarily increase anything. So what we're looking at here is if I want to get my Lowman started, especially for Apocalypse, what we're looking for is an attack down, defense up, or a single character and 45 defense increase. And unfortunately, we did not get anything of the sort. We did get a soul weapon increase, which could be interesting for now, but very much, if not optimal at all. And the same thing goes for anything else that is related to Apocalypsion. So anything that is a necklace and gives you base magical defense, that is something that you will have to look out for. If you don't keep these, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot. Defense spend 95%. Defense increase could be interesting to keep you alive. Wow, absolute great stats, but on a necklace. Crazy. Alright, another cooldown reduction up on 3, but this time for a priest. Yo, that is beautiful. So we are getting a lot of things over here, especially when I look at the basic stat of things. It is already looking quite good. But the question is, who do we put this one on? We have several priests that we can use, but who do we put this on? Well, I think I'll just keep that piece for now and put that on. You know, I don't think you use her anyway, but know that this stat is on here, and like you can practically use this for world boss or anything else for that matter. Yeah. So at some point, I know for sure that there will be content that will do exactly like Apocalypsium, but this time it will be physical damage. So within time, trying to find yourself some physical defense stuff to allow yourself to live will be absolutely mandatory. Which in turn means blowing all of these things will end you with remorse, because you might actually destroy things that you would have wanted to keep. This one, 25% HP, some P block, is not optimal, but it's still pretty good to start out with. Critical damage increase, okay, defense increases, and all that shimmy, okay. Not something of absolute value, but we are still trying to get the righteous things in there. And since we're rocking Galgoria first, trying to set up your account. See, there's another cooldown 3, beautiful. And this one is interesting. This is an attack down and defense up. If you want to survive anything, that one is crazy. On shield increase, unfortunately, that's not going to help us because those characters don't have a shield. But we are going to see. This one is a must-have. We're going to put this one on Glenwiz for now. It's not like it's going to help her straight away. Oh boy, I just did something I shouldn't have. Luckily we were busy with this. Where is that 3% shimmy? This one could be pretty good for survivability, and very good actually for your Trial of Sky. Have you completed Sky 10 yet?
No, I haven't completed any 10 yet.
Oh, okay. So this is a must-have piece to allow your main tank to survive. And you can live Valance tank nowadays, because for one, she doesn't heal at all anyway, and the rest is just like really good. So in terms of base stats, could not have been better.
Alright.
So that is pretty good. Oh my god, we're gonna reforge a lot of your stuff, and we haven't even touched upon your Galgoria boxes. I'm a little bit frightened by the amount, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You were possibly just smirking when I saw those boxes, weren't you? I fucking knew it. That's
it
alright,
it was just, you know, it just hoarded over time.
I knew it.
I do it on cooldown. I'm very diligent with that. So.
I get it though, man. I would do the same. Alright, so this is an interesting piece to a certain degree. And that is 20 plus block times 20, which is 400 block extra. The fact that it has an HP and a magical block right there will allow you to survive many early game hits, but late game hits as well. This could be well used on Loman into Apocalypse, and if you do want to survive. It's still not the most optimal piece, which is an attack down, defense up, but it can still help you out. There's another cooldown 3 which will help you in World Boss, which is good. So there are several of these which are useful, but mainly onto your tank. And in a sense, they could also be used in your shotguns. So those are pretty good. I might actually turn this one into a Glenwist one as well, because it has a base B block, which is really good. And like you said, right, the hardship is basically because you have less line stats, right?
Yeah, for me that was confusing.
Yep.
Losing 2 stat lines and gaining an additional skill is different.
Yep.
Something like that. It's different.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think that could be for more people, and I'm gonna try and make it easier on you once we start working on your Panzerung gear. Yeah. Because I can give you so many like theories on it, but just showing you might seem to be like the best option for now. Let's see. Defense when there's one enemy. Now this is one of those where it is pretty good, but for Trial of Sky this will not help because there are many totems. But it could be something that we could keep. Another cooldown 3, but this time for mechanic, so that's pretty good. We could put that one on Valence, which is really nice. We got a 25% attack increase for Priest, beautiful, with a HP stat, so that is godlike, and an attack line on that one. So pretty decent pieces overall, man. If we are just judging by the luck, we are looking at quite some good stuff here. So this one goes to Valence. There you go. Now she has a full set. Surprise, surprise.
Ogres.
Taking it. And we had another one that was interesting, and that was a priest one, 2.5% attack increase up to anything else. It has a HP stat, and what are we going to use more? Well, I think I'll just put it on Mediana for now, for no particular reason, so you don't have to look at it any more than that. But we are going to grind the rest, but double checking whether we have anything on Panzerung which we could already use before I destroy things that aren't supposed to be destroyed, like my game. Damn it. Matt Drago said, if I have half of that luck, yo, we've seen it before, man, just relog, it seems to help.
True.
I don't want to breed any superstition, but
Caught in 4K.
oh man. Alright, we're almost 1 hour and 20 minutes in, and I think the thing that we should focus on right before anything, because I'll let you play the account instead of trying to clear all your stuff as well, right?
I mean, just do what you think is good, and
then
tell me like
but
where to go from there, and I should be able to.
Yep. Like the thing is, in terms of time, I think it would be better for me to invest into all of your TM stats.
Yeah.
Because you said in a similar fashion, like you basically have the same account as that dude that I did the account review for previously. But to me, they're entirely different because...
No, it was more like we're in the same situation as in we're both retarding players who have no fucking clue where to go from here.
Which is a very good state, and I think a lot of people, especially like that dude yesterday said to me, like he became aware of this game once again because of King's Raid 2.
Oh, fair.
And I was like, oh shit, so that is actually living upon part of a community that isn't even playing this game, which is good. And it would be even greater for the people that would just simply say like, oh my god, yay, we're getting a new game. Guess what? No, King's Raid 2 is the same game, same characters, visual overhaul, new content. That's basically it.
Yep.
So yeah, that being said, I think there's a wide variety of people that want to get either back into this game or want to try this out even more. But I've been theorizing about this one dumb stuff, and I'm gonna lay it out for somebody that wants to try this, and this account could technically do it. Because if you look at the Crystals of Galgoria, he has a lot of them. We could make his pansy gear right off the bat, like no problem, because we can simply rock one thing and be done with it. The other side, however, means that it's going to cost us a lot. It's going to cost us 200k-ish, if not more. Let me double check how much it is. And I'm gonna leave it to you, Rena. Like what do you want me to do? Because there are two different types of sets that you could use for your pansy. Because if you want to do World Boss, 3 times 15% damage, or 15 times 3% damage, is one of the things that you need for the longer fights. But for shorter fights, you need 95 HP. And if we go for each of one of these sets, you don't have enough materials. Plus, another thing, we still don't have all of your Valence gear. Which means that if we just do Galgoria and we say Mechanic, then we have ourselves chances that we find the other gear pieces as well.
I don't put like as much importance in world bosses, to be honest, because as long as you do a certain amount of damage, you get all the rewards as far as I know, except for the ranking.
True.
Except for the ranking.
True. But hear me out on this one. Like this is what I would do on my own account, because for several reasons. You have more characters than one to gear, which means like you could say, oh, I go Orb, and I say I go, what the hell are these anyway? 2595, let's say. Fastest damage, World Boss doesn't really matter to you. Maybe it should, I don't know. But with this, we can make up 6 pieces, give or take.
Right.
And you do have a lot of Technomagic experiment reports, which is nice. So you could basically build anything that you like, but it is only for one character alone. And that itself doesn't seem to be that beneficial, because you are looking for more pieces than one, which means in terms of RNG, getting the orb down like this and trying to get at least 2 pieces that could be of value for you, and then craft the other 2 pieces, seem to be more bang for your buck. Like, I would never ever go for the last piece on random, because that is very costly. But this way, getting the right piece of gear seems very, very good. And I'm gonna throw the theory out to the people. What if you just do this, Galgoria, and just run everything, right? Because you literally now have, I need to grab my calculator, because this could end you with every character geared. So let's say you got 257,700 divided by what, 850. You got 300 attempts to get something good. But this is something that is the highest of high RNG, and doing that right off as of now for gear that will get switched out, because your priests aren't gonna keep using Galgoria.
Yeah, of course.
So that is something I've been debating whether I should do this on an account review. At the end of the day, it's still RNG. So let me start out on the one thing that I do know that works, and that is getting reclaim gear for no reason. That's not what I'm trying to say. This one could be good for the PvP side of things if you do end up reforging it for a better stat. But for now, with a 25% defense, we are going to... Wow. Actually, that is about the best bang for your buck, my bro. If you look at this thing, physical defense baseline. Oh man, this one couldn't have been better, because attack reduction, defense increase will then allow you to do Trial of Sky 10. You might want to have to build into Audi though. I saw that you didn't have him.
No, I didn't. I can move.
But that's okay. That is something that you can work with for now. We're going back to the crafting piece. So instead of going the 100% route, we got 2 pieces and one that we can already use. What more do we want, ladies and gentlemen? Attack increase. That one is an Eclipse one if you want to use it. Defense down, attack up. Not optimal, but still a pretty decent one. All defense increase. Well, if you're lacking defense, seems good. So we're basically trying to find 2 pieces, and that can be hard. It can be luck, because at the end of the day, there are what, like 54 different kinds of roles that you can go with. So it's 1 in 55, and then or like 40, 54, whatever it is. And then we also have the part where you can get dupes, and also parts where you can get bracelets and necklaces. So that is the sad part, but I'd rather just play this RNG type to try and get the things that we need, because once he gets his Panzeron started up, you can practically do all content and have no struggles. I'm hoping for another reclaimed earring, that's good, but that would be very much pushing it. But this could take days, man. But I do think that after this stream, we should be having at least your pansy done. Okay, after we drop to about 200k Galgoria, I'm going the 100% route, because otherwise I cannot guarantee that we get what we need.
Yeah, that's fair.
Before that point, I would like to just keep trying. And there's just a 25.95 that we're looking for, or a 3 times 15, or 3 times 12 it is. Damage that ignores defense. Well, that would be great on some other characters, but unfortunately, Mechanic is not one of them. Continuous damage. Defense increase. So far on the attack side of things, we're not that lucky. Oh, another reclaim one. Let's go. What do we have here? Attack increase. Wow. Look at the base stats on this thing. 25% attack and an attack and penetration max roll.
Yo.
That is quite sick. Honestly, I would even take it and just say, oh, wait for all of the reforges and make that one into something else. But, alright, another reclaim one. Can we get something interesting? That one is ass. Nothing useful. Okay, we got 2 more tries until we get a singular piece. But so far, no luck at all. That's pretty sad. Okay. So I saw one thing that might add to our days. Let's go ahead and do it the easy route. So we go this, we go additional skill, and 3 times 12 is still currently the best. You can go for the 25-95 for shorter fights, but you're gonna see that Apocalypsion is a longer fight, Eclipse is a longer fight, Shockman is a longer fight. So the moment you use that, I would say there's no equal. And knowing that we have this, we could go into some more RNG stuff. I would rather do the RNG stuff because it seems so plausible for us to get at least 1 piece. And that would net us with enough. But yeah, it's always getting that first piece in is quite heavy, right? Continuous damage. Another reclaim piece, why not? Let's get it. What is this? Another ring. Bad. Well, it's not bad. Like, reclaim gear is always good. Wow. Double magical defense on something. Nothing good, nothing good, nothing good. I haven't seen a single piece yet, which is crazy. I have the same thing with my Lorraine right now, where I want to try and get my very first piece on continuous damage. Nothing.
That's bad.
Yeah, man. It just happens.
Such is the nature of RNG.
Yep, okay. I'm already done with this. We're not gonna look at this any further because there's another way on how we can address this, is just make whatever we need right now and not give a single care in the world. That seems way better. So, is it a little bit of a failure as some sort? Yeah, you could call it that. But anyway, we're going to need some extra pieces of Galgoria, otherwise we won't be able to do anything. Wait, I forget something super amazing. We got so many packages, why don't I just open them up? I don't want to sort this out. For the love of God.
It's quite a few, I know.
Yeah, that's alright though, man.
Hey, if there's one thing I learned over my years of playing gacha mobile games is you can never have too many things.
Yup. Like, hoarding could be very beneficial.
Yep.
Then again, there's this trade-off, like you're playing for like over 100 days. Like within these 100 days you could have been clearing, let's say, Sky 10, Shockman 9 and everything else with just the right investment at the right amount of timing. But
pretty much,
like, you could also wait for a guy like me to come around and help you out. Because
I mean, honestly, it was more like I just didn't know where to really put the resources, because I felt like, again, it's the thing I told you, where I just felt like my team, I just sort of lost trust in the team because it just stayed there. Like, there was basically no improvement.
Yeah, and I think TM is one of those things where your account will skyrocket. So,
yeah.
Onto the TM side of things, like the additional TM skills, did that shine a light upon the things that you didn't know before? Do you want me to emphasize on it a little bit more? Because we're going to be busy here for a while.
I think the one thing I struggled with the most in terms of TM gear, besides the stat lines being missing, and is just like knowing what additional skill is good in what hero.
So I've addressed several of them. Do they make sense to you, or should I go over them in a short summary?
No, they make sense in the most part. I think the things I would struggle with the most is, for example, with the cooldown reduction on the third skill, for example. Like, where is that better than something like some other additional skill, for example? Or like in Pansy, the way I was building her was mostly just, you know, has more attack, put it in.
Yep.
Basically, and you know,
Like,
for me, like the flat attack has always seemed better than the, gains X attack after X seconds or X minutes or whatever.
Yep. And that's where a lot of people go different on it, because let's say your defense down, attack up. In contrast, that is added to it, but it's not multiplied. And this is where the other things are better, because it's on a whole different layer. Yo, Music, what's up, man? And thanks for the follow, my friend. But that is one of the things, right? Like, I know those are the best stats because I know how the mechanics work. But if I say the difference between additive or multiplicative, like, that stems from like a lot of games, which then in turn will tell you like, shit, that stuff is actually super good.
Yeah, that's fair.
And once you know that, then it's just general knowledge. As for where to put which cooldown 3s, there are several heroes that will benefit from that, but definitely not all.
Yeah,
so keeping out a few of them, like most of the things that are good are cooldown 2s and cooldown 3s, but very specifically on support heroes.
Alright.
Let me double check. Do I have anything of value here? Because we're looking at, okay, defense increase when there's one enemy. That could be nice. But it has full P block, so that's kind of ass. Here, a 2.5% damage increase. That one is beautiful. So the 2.5% damage increase is one of those support TMs, where if you get those, you put that onto your solid, and it will just perform. Nothing else that you need to figure out on that one. Oh man, I'm so glad that you got so much gold, because this way we can actually perform this one. Damage that ignores defense, unfortunately on the wrong character. Block increase for X, that's ass. 25% HP could be used, but me. I might actually use it for the basic stats for now, because if you get a full set, that is damage reduction done up to you, which is pretty interesting. So this one on Estelle, if we get a more of a support kind, then we are obviously going to switch it out. But for now, it could be quite worth it. But that is only if we get something worth more. King Pixar is still alive. Good morning, Last Exile. Listening to you stream during my workout. Yo, I'm not sure if my voice will give you the energy that is required. But yo, if it works for you, dude, let's fucking go. If you need some shouting in your ear, we can fix that for you. But I'll do it with a warning so that people can turn off their headphones. Soul weapon usage increase for priest is also a really good one for world boss and kind. 2.5% damage increase, so there's 2 of them which I need, and the rest of them caca. Let me double check, where were they again? Both of them were priests. Oh, this one has magical defense as well. Beautiful. Yo, you got some luck, my dude. Now, that soul weapon increase is also a very specific one, because depending on how many soul weapons you have for what kind of character, it will be good. Characters like Mei on World Boss 1 and 2 doesn't have the required soul weapons to keep it 100% uptime on a defensive team. Nice, 8 HP in the defense one. Attack down, defense up, beautiful. So that is looking quite good. Anything else? Nope. So we are going to take this one as well. But the attack down, defense up to me is still one of the better ones. It has physical block, but did the other one have attack and attack speed? Yeah, I don't like that. So then we go up to the next parts. We are looking for these, and rings, earrings as such, they will give you much. Yo, King Pigs, thanks for the 8 months in a row, man. That's crazy. Nothing of value. Like the 200 dodges, they fell off the bandwagon quite well. For the people that still feel like, oh my god, you should be using them, you could, but everybody and their mother now currently has built-in accuracy for the PvP side of things. So I don't even go for those dodges anymore. It used to be that people would go for that like so badly, but it just didn't work out. Defense down, attack up could be interesting, but not optimal, and he doesn't have a character that would benefit from it right now. Please, there are what? 4 earrings. Can we get at least a 1 that we need? These skill tickets really kill Shockman. Yo, my dude, here's the thing, Kingpix. Don't ever use them on small Shockman. That's the biggest waste that you can find. Defense down, attack up, soul weapon increase, unfortunately not useful. Damn, we got all those earrings, but nothing useful. Very sad. Okay, now we're coming up at the magic defense part. Only if you really get into PvP. Yeah. Like, the dodge ones still aren't that useful. Like, you would say, oh, it is good if you put it onto assassins. Yes, that's right, but assassins are ass in the current meta. So technically, it's still bad. Unfortunately, there is still so much we need. Who are you building to it? I'm trying to find him some gear. Ooh, defense up on 1. That's beautiful, but it's on assassin, so unfortunate. Cooldown reduction onto S3, but we already had something on balance that was of use, so unfortunately, nothing better than what we already had. I'm gonna use the other pieces as well. Oh man, trying to sort this out is ass. Gear for which character? We're trying to look for Panzerone. Panzerone. Nope. Pretty bad all along the board. I'm not gonna do that for assassin because assassins are not supportive types.
If you hear something, it's my cat.
That's alright. I'm not hearing anything, by the way. Wow.
Some stuff a little bit.
This bracelet is actually pretty good. I'm gonna keep that one. This one is interesting if you want to go PvP magic side at some point. Cooldown reduction is 3 might not be good. So there's 2 pieces that are interesting right now. One of them was a warrior one. Where the hell did that one go? Cooldown reduction is 3, and then we had this one. Wow, it has debuff accuracy, mana recovery. Like, you could technically use that one. Well, not straight away, but almost. Then the priest side of things. Let's see. King picks a ew pansy, yo. Don't start a fight right here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. Ooh, crit damage increase to allies. That's beautiful. Defense down, attack up. This is a PvP one. We're gonna save that one. Like, if he ever wants to do the PvP side of things, then he will have gear that will allow him to. Some debuff accuracy on there. Not entirely necessary, but it works. Critical damage increase, which is beautiful. And now we're coming up at the side of the orbs. Please, dear Lord, give me something that is useful, because I haven't seen many attack ones. Okay, cooldown is 3. HPs. Crit, attack speed. Attack speed could be useful for PvP, but not entirely just yet. Anyway. Orbs are the ones that everybody needs, so please, from one orb. 3 times 15 increased damage. Yep, I know. Attack increase. Nope. Nope. One time. Nope. Defense ignore. Wow. Why do we get so many good stuff but for the wrong characters? So bad. Wait, this is an earring, right? Yep, it is. Okay, we got what, 5 orbs left for the one character that we need. Can we get it? But yeah, this just shows that, wow, critical damage, double up critical chance, 2.5% damage on an orb, which is good, but unfortunately not the right thing that we need. 2.5% damage upon that one, that is beautiful. Ignore. Defense is interesting. If you want to go PvP, Leo bust people's nuts. But unfortunately, outside of this one and outside of that one, and there was another one, right? Nope. Outside of those, there is nothing of value. We could try and equip this onto balance. Balance already had the cooldown reduction, but having this one into retrospect, that is still pretty good. I would still like you to reforce this reclaim passioneering, but you don't have to.
Into which steps?
Into either a 3 times damage times 15, because that one is the most valuable onto longer fights, or a 25 95 HP.
Okay.
Because those are currently the best in slot for your damage dealers. It might change over time if they do any kinds of patches. Maybe King's Raid 2 might change everything, so that is something that people should look out for, and not just go by the single video you want to watch and think like, oh, I finally got the things that I want, baby, and then they make something entirely different. Could be. I don't think they will, but you never know. Keep thinking. That is the message. So we are going to grind everything that is not valuable. We checked over every single one of them. We got a lot of support ones, actually. Unfortunately, not that much for DPS, which is concerning. But I have this theory called, there are things happening within time gates, which means that if everybody was lucky at some point, the servers would be flooded with items.
That's true.
But what if, right, the system just says, okay, we want to have only 5-star unique weapons every single day, because otherwise this game will be flooded. And that sounds pretty insane, but whether that is true or not, my little brother actually works IT. He has shown some theories on that, where it could or could not be true. It's quite interesting. Just use the selector. We could, man, but since he uses up all those things, and since he needs multiple amounts of gear, it's still not useful, because I would rather have his balance done as well if we do get the right amount of gear. So we keep doing this. We have enough for the rest of the selectors, but if we can clear Valence out at the start already, that in itself is already pretty good. The fact that we got a defense one on that one is pretty good. Do I want to make Valence for DPS? Hell no. I just want it to be her as a good support. So I just want to have that very first piece, honestly. But from the lack of all of them, it seems more beneficial to do just selector. Okay, I'm gonna do 10 last ones until we get our first piece. If we don't, then that's one. Nope. 2. He still needs to clear Arctic X-ray too. Yep. Which is why I'm looking for several other pieces that will increase his overall capacity. We're on 5, I think. I forgot, I stopped counting. So this piece, once again, is absolutely ridiculous when it comes to Arctic X-ray, because the 2.5% extra damage is multiplicative once again, but since it is a bracelet, it will allow you to live. So putting down Pansy over there, godlike. We're gonna actually save that piece, because I might be one of those dummies that if I don't lock it, I will break it. So this one, highly valuable. Okay, 3 more. So technically we already got a few pieces that will allow him to do better. Mechanic, and we go back to it. Why use Gogoria than Sieg? Here's the thing. If you if you're looking at a new account, the best thing for you to do, ooh, double physical defense and the hell is that? Like if you look at a newer account, you're going to find yourself a problem, right? Where you could say, but why would you use that on Valence? Because Sieg is better. Honestly, every 10 seconds cooldown lowering, it really doesn't even sound good to me. But that's just me. But here's the thing. If you got a Galgoria set that is equally as good, but not the most optimal set, would you then not use Galgoria? That doesn't sound like anything that makes sense. But that is just it to me. We got one selector and a few other things. Okay. So we're going for the most optimal stat. Let's go with it on this. And the one beautiful thing is that Valence makes sure that we get a discount. I wish we had this back in the day. Okay, we're gonna craft this. Yes, 3 times 15 times 12. Okay, so we got a first piece, and we are going to go and put that on her. First piece, lock it down. Like I said, 25.95 is good for shorter fights, better for challenge raid, but unfortunately we only have this much limited stuff that we can go with. Mechanic, we go for this one, select the additional skill. You could also go for a 50-50 part, but yeah. That would not be much better or more plausible. Okay, we got a full penetration mark. Beautiful. And in terms of raw stats, we will be going over to what is necessary. Yo, Hajope, what's up, man? We're gonna go Valence Workshop, Technomagic Crafting, and since he got so much, we are able to do whatever. We need secondary gear, and we need earrings. This could still end you up with a reclaim. This is also the reason why, if we are lucky, we can do the same stuff. Wow, for an earring. Earring, yep. Same stuff. Okay, if this becomes reclaimed, you're absolutely lucky. Damn, it wasn't. That would have been crazy. Okay, attack speed and magical block. So unfortunately, the stat rolls weren't that optimal, but that is what we're going to fix right now. Did you by any chance know how much damage your pansy did on certain content? To check out what the damage increase is actually going to be like.
I think I would know best on the current one boss.
Okay, very good.
Like between 4 and 5 build DPS.
Okay. So the bigger question would be, for one, we gotta reforge your options already. So what I generally do, I try to get as much attack stats on the other artifacts. Yeah. Rip, no reclaimed. Yes, I know. So we're gonna do these first, trying to get attack, penetration, or critical damage, and then go further from that, because we will be able to increase this account by just a right amount. Recovery stack, quite decent if you want to do clips, but not very useful. Okay, attack stat. We could be min-maxing this all the way through, but I'll give you this as homework so that you can maximize them, because you got enough Reforge tickets to maximize all of the UTs. It just needs a little bit of time. But like you asked me, it's more like, oh shit, I have a problem with like how to min-max the rest. Wow, full on critical one, beautiful. This one, lifesteal attack, honestly, lifesteal, let's go get either penetration or critical damage in this. Like, it's still good to have lifesteal on it, but it is way easier to get lifesteal currently on a what is it called, a Technomagic enhancement, and this way it opens up a pure damaging line, which can go up to like real absurd amount, like 14% attack. That's something that you cannot get anywhere else. And technically, you don't even need lifesteal in most cases anyway. Yay, physical or magical defense, pick your poison. Physical defense might actually be useful if you don't survive the earlier hits from the Trial of Sky. Wow, are we not getting lucky here? But we might be sitting here all day this way. But yeah, parts of it is RNG. Wow, HP could be quite good, but just penetration. It's not that hard. Or crit could be useful as well. But nowadays, with all of the additional characters that will be giving you crits, such as Mei, UT2, Valas S1, penetration near max roll, yes, beautiful. Now, penetration might also be one of those stats that you're thinking like, oh, that's absolutely unnecessary once you get made to an absolute godlike amount. High up unique weapon, because that will net you with about 1,000 penetration, and after that there's a fall off point of it, which is true. So getting yourself critical damage on the longer run on your main damage dealer seems to be the most beneficial if you judge it by world boss capacity.
Alright.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where we just go from there. Now we're going to check out this one. P block max roll, beautiful. Recovery on attack, that's better but not optimal. Attack speed increase doesn't benefit Pansy at all. Penetration on the other hand, like I said, penetration stat is good but also not optimal. Like it's either attack or critical damage at this point, or enough crit to get by. But since you got Valence, since you got Mei, you don't necessarily have to think about anything else. And that's also one of the things that I would like you to increase. Oh, full attack roll in one go. That is good. It feels good whenever you pop one of those, man. You're like, yup, give me more of that, man. I'm not trying to be greedy. Oh, 14% attack, give it to me. Now your Pansy will become an absolute destroyer thing. It will be crazy. And one of the, wow, I should have picked that max roll. Critical damage, we're gonna take this for now. Like I said, I'm not gonna fully optimize, but full attack would be quite preferable. But when it comes to the crit side of things, the luxury that, wow, full penetration. We're getting a lot of full rolls. Wow, critical damage in one go. Let's take it. What else do we need? And we got a full penetration on that one. So I had this issue with my own Cecilia where I got like so many penetration rolls and I had to reforce that, but I postponed that every single time because I thought it's still damage down the drain anyway, so I don't have to care. But the beautiful side of things of this one is now that we're looking at overall stats, Pansy has the luxury to use the pressure point, which is 400 critical increase. And her base stat is critical damage. Now, if you put 400 on top of the 400 that you already have, you only need 200 left. But if you look at Mei, for instance, Mei on a UT2 gives 250% or 250 crit extra. And put that with the fact that you get a 150 base from Priest as well. So that is also 400. So we would be on 1.2k, which would be way too much, right? But if we then take that 200 or this 400 out, we would need another 150 to get to the maximum. And that is easily acquired currently by Valence, because Valence her S1 will give you a 350 crit increase. This in turn will net you with one thing, is that you can literally bust up any certain Vel'Korzar artifact to increase your overall damage capacity. And you could be thinking like, oh, I could end up using this penetration one, which is good. But like I said, once you get Mei up to a certain point, this penetration will skyrocket and won't go much further than the 60%, because after 1,000, that is like soft cap. It will fall off so hard, man, and it's definitely not going to be useful. So if I look at the overall stats right now, decent amount of critical damage, Attack still not at the point of a 1 million, which could be very much achieved. Your rearrange stat, unfortunately, we haven't gotten any bonuses on the attack, so we could easily reach over 1 million. But we could definitely lower down the penetration that we have on these things to then go for full attack. If we do that, the damage will absolutely skyrocket. And another thing that we shouldn't forget is that you get 200 base defense penetration, so we're already at 1,000 over here. So we got such an overcommitment on penetration. So that is it for basic building, and then we're actually done already. And mind you, her damage will significantly increase. Do you have by any chance a record of what your robot damage is?
I know I did like 1.6 trillion total.
1.6 trillion. Alright. We're gonna beat that. I think we're gonna actually triple that.
Yo.
I'm not even joking. I think if not, we could go even higher, but that's just a basic assumption. I'm not quite sure whether I can put the money where the mouth is, but currently even the penetration wouldn't be necessarily bad because you don't have May to get any extra penetration, but
yeah.
Question mark. Nah, I don't want to take a critical damage that is so low rolled. Okay, we're gonna do 5 more, and if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna let you to it because, like I said, there's so many things that would be better for you to try and find out, and then we gotta call out a closer as well because so far, does this give you some, or does it shed some light onto your problems?
No, it definitely does. I think the only thing I'm still wondering about is like, what would I use as a second DPS? Because you mentioned it earlier for like Algorian stuff. Like what I would use as a second DPS.
Yep.
And what I would remove from the current team I use for Galgoria in order to make space for that.
Okay, so Galgoria is part of the issue, and what will be a secondary DPS that you could invest into? Good questions. Like the issue is, and I get that because I limit myself in terms of trying to say, oh, I just only want to have waifus. Unfortunately, outside of Panzeron on the physical side of things, I have to think about a character that would benefit you. Because I could say, yo, build Yana because it's good for Apocalypsion, and that in a sense is definitely true, but will it help you that much? Urzi could be good. Definitely waifu material if you ask me. Is on an assassin line, which generally doesn't get used all that much. Matt Drago said Rebel Claws. Yo, I don't think Rebel Claws has the chest fat to be a waifu. So I think that one is a
Real?
Nah, not really. Let's see. Like I'm still hoping for you to get that solar buff, bro. That would solve all the problems in one go.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Okay. If you want to just get a character, not anything specific, the one thing that you can always invest into is Celine, because she is one of the best Eclipse characters in the game.
Alright, I'll just go for it then.
Yeah. Like Matt Drago was saying the following, like if he only needs waifu, go mage. That's true. And at some point you will need magical damage characters for sure, but
Yeah, I know. But I know.
If you wanted to have a magical damage character, well, I'm not sure what Greenery is, but I think she's female. Can we see that? Whether somebody is male or female? I don't know. But there are characters outside of that roster that will help you Luckily, this game is actually not that full waifu game.
No, that's true.
Like, I see it in many other games that is just fan service all the way through, which is just crazy. But yeah, Selena is just one of those characters. Seems like a very obnoxious thing to use because she's only really excelling at Eclipse. But she could do good in Galgoria, nonetheless. And yeah, for secondary DPS, I could go like, oh, just go Rebel Claws because you already got him to a 2-star. He would be the access for you to get further into the game. That is something that
I can do Rebel Claws.
Like that is something that I will have to mention, because if you pop up a Rebel Claws, that will even open up like 1,000 rubies extra every single week by just using him in PvP. And
I can get behind that.
Yes, and that is the thing. Like it's a pick your poison, right? Because if you will end up investing into that dude, you'll be able to clear the Trial of Earth, which will then open up your tanks. So it is like say a stepping stone, if you will.
It makes more sense.
Yep. Like I cannot give you any other character that will do better for you right now. Like absolutely none. And since you still got unique weapons left, you still have the options to do so.
Yeah.
And
I'll build claws then.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, just no real better option. Unfortunately, on the Galgoria side of things, we didn't really pull anything, unfortunately, but that's just the way it goes. I am going to double check one thing for you though. You're not making gear presets, okay, my dude. To save up time in your day, in your busy schedule, make sure to save up your gear, because this will allow you to. I'm gonna make you a World Boss 1 or World Boss 2 preset, because this will allow you to switch, and especially because you are currently stepping into the realm of doing more kinds of content.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to switch a lot, and you don't want to scroll through all your TM gear, finding the right ones, and then think about it like, shit, what did I use last week?
That makes sense, yes.
Because it oh man, it will hurt you, and in turn it will hurt me for not telling you, because it will be like, why the fuck did you not say it to this guy? And I'm like, yeah, I know, man, but what should I have done? Bro.
Fair.
Okay, you got yourself a shock, man. We're gonna use that one. We're gonna use the main team, and unfortunately, well,
Claws is basically just PDEF. That's what I built him for.
yeah, figured as much. All right, so we are going to use this. We're going to use that. Oh, and we still need to. Okay, this one would not be good in the main team. Sub team. How was your Veronica, by the way? I saw that you have her, but
Probably has nothing.
has nothing. Okay, that is not good, not bad, but usable. We need to level up that one. Where? What was that yesterday? Like, I'm getting to a point where I start to question. Oh, you don't have Veronica just yet. Okay, good character that you want to invest into, or one of the lower investment ones that will help you out. But now the bigger question is, what would help you or benefit you most? Let's go from Mediana into Rahartna. Quite crazy to say, oh, just go Rahartna then, but I don't see any real benefits from going anything else right now. So Rahartna is on this is on that. We still haven't gotten you to any decent shock mess, but I can already tell this stuff is going to be better, right? Like, now that your Pansy is fully equipped, her damage will skyrocket over there. Oh, you had Evan. Well, Evan is quite ass, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else that might benefit us from this point on? No, Mariana's having everything. That is nice. You do want to have some attack runes on this, my guy. And then we got to double check Transcendence perk page. Well, this is more of a other one. We're going to do this. We are using a range DPS. Keep forgetting. There you go. There you go. Beautiful. Then this is set. The only thing that we would possibly need is an orb to finish out Estelle. And for artifacts, we could use some cooldown reduction on her, give her more healing. It's just it has no real value, but it might just work for now because you have a low unique weapon. There are no gear that oh, shut up! I'm gonna make you something. We cannot have May without anything. It's just I would feel bad. So we go priest, we go May. UT2 is the one that is preferred because it gives you a lot of critical damage, or a critical rate, which in turn gives you critical damage.
Yeah.
Yo, we got Sanog, what's up, man? So we're looking at one that gives you attack up. Fortunately not. So we're gonna do something crazy, and we're gonna try and make it at least a 2-star and get an attack line for no reason. We still have so many reforges left, but I'm a little bit picky when it comes to this. And the other character that you should be getting quite fast is Isaiah. That one is a must-have in every account because of Apocalypse on it. Unfortunately, no attack lines, but at least we got ourselves. Are we going to gamble this onto that 2-star again, or are we not? Your call.
Sure, go for it.
Oh, he said go. What a gambler.
I always go for it, I mean.
We don't get rewarded, ladies and gentlemen. What is this? At least they'll break even. I hate this game. Sometimes, man, when you're 2 hours into this BS and then you're just trying to help out a fellow man, and it doesn't work out like this, it is ass. Yo, and that thing is even called a piece of cake. The irony, what the hell? Yeah. A sweet piece of cake. It's even worse. The hell? Okay, please let not. Finally, Jesus Christ. Okay, so that one is done, which is good. Then the only thing that is left for this one is I'm gonna get a gear ticket because unfortunately we don't have anything of use. We can get additional stat lines on this, which is only defense. What? Okay, I do not like that. Swiftness gear ticket. Can we? No, we cannot make weapons from this. I haven't used these items in ages, and the fact that it limits me to certain things, it pisses me off already. We're gonna use this gear lance, and we're gonna go. What? Why am I using a lance anyway? Because I need a staff. There's no real reason to use one or the other, but here you go. Attack stats triple. Yay, because that will be going on to May. May has a tendency to attack speed stat. Great. Wait, was that the right one? I'm getting a little bit. Luckily that those things don't matter. Yep, it was the wrong class, so it did matter. My bad. Luckily you won't be using that anywhere near in the future anyway, so. Because you will be getting her unique weapon quite soon. Why the hell did I think? Praise. Thank you. Fortune staff. Doesn't matter which one you pick. Double attack. I wonder if you get a quad roll right now. Actually not bad. If it was a main damage type. Mid. Go back to May. This one, that one. Yoink. 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 And then for gear, since we got some TM skills, we might be able to use something, but unfortunately, we would still have to wait. But as I've said, and this could be used. Oh wow. Well, this solid is going to be out for a little bit. Sorry, solid, but you're not going to be useful right here. Feels bad. Okay. HP. Attack. Anything. HP attack, HP attack, HP attack. They're all useless. Okay, so this one, I would take this. Another one, HP attack is, oh, nice. Beautiful. So we can just put this on May, allow her to survive, and be done with that. Since you don't have all of the artifacts that are required to really do good, you will have to figure out a way to get those artifacts. But that is just mainly doing world boss. So for one, you got yourself a crown, really good, but you need abyssal breath as well, which is, I'm not sure, do you have currency?
I think I have enough for one, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Yep, you do have enough. So you, oh my god, another crash, really. You want to become famous? No. Get the hell out of my stream. But yo, Ken, what's up, man? So yeah, we're going to do world boss, and I said we're gonna triple your damage.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, put it up in the chat. Like it was 1.6T, you said?
1.6.
Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, with all the additions that we did to his account, how much are we going to topple his stuff? Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to know your opinions, and we're gonna do a full auto. Like, we're not gonna do anything fancy. I haven't even looked at all of the gear, so we might not even survive cleanly. Easy 4T, he said. Yo, I think we can quadruple this damage. I might be ambitious, but I'm not even sure why I'm upgrading that one, but sure, I'll take it. Yo, Miltonia's 10T, Flowerhorn 3.5. Oh, but no, we got more. We got more of this. We put everything up there, which was unnecessary. This one is interesting. We don't need much more cooldown reduction because Fall of Frey is set up correct. We got more than enough crit rate to go with. Shockman is looking fire. The real question is, can you survive a full run?
Yeah.
Okay. Antonio said 10T, but King Pix at 800 billion. Yo, you guys are skeptical. I'm gonna just do this one full auto. Yoink, initial hit, no damage. Now, Rohartna might be optional if you think about it, but and do you normally manual world boss or do you auto?
I just auto as well. I do understand.
We just press buttons. Yo, we would need some more stuns in this lineup. Definitely need some more stuns. Why don't we have like 4 times the speed, man? That would be crazy. Well, my dude, we're almost looking at 1T. First knockdown though. And the damage is still ramping up. Although world boss blasphemy, yo, Lesix, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. So after this, there will be one thing that I will be doing on my own account after the account review, and that is optimize my own Eclipse run, because I still have to do my Celine one to get 200 gold ethers in a run. We're already at 1.2 and we're not even halfway through the run.
Yeah, it's gonna be an easy top one.
Yeah, man, for sure. We might actually die at some point. I see stuns and things coming out. I don't like that. But hey, as long as we're stunning a little bit more heavily, then this run would also be better. Oh, there you go, 1.6, 3-minute marker. I think if I would manual this, then we could definitely quadruple, but... .2 already, looking beautiful. I think Sonak is actually quite right on the 5T. But in terms of CC immunity, there's some things to be gained within this team. But I wouldn't necessarily say like you need to build a Shay. If you want to do Apocalypsion, you need a Shay. That's a god given, because 75% damage reduction is something that you cannot pass up on. So that is another character that you could be looking out for. She will then increase your roll bossing capacity as well, but so could Isaiah. Like both Isaiah and Shay are on a similar level in terms of usability. But yeah, at least your roll boss is starting to look good, my friend.
Indeed.
People are not gonna take Eclipse serious for those ethers. Yeah, King picks 100%, and I'm even considering to optimize people's Eclipse run, because that's a whole nother thing altogether, man. Because that could take me a full day for me to fix people's accounts on that one. So that would require a completely different donation, because I don't want to give up all my day to just look at Eclipse and try to optimize for the people. I wouldn't mind, but unfortunately not just for 20 bucks, man. We're looking at some 5Ts, ladies and gentlemen. Easy. Look at that. It's not quadrupled just yet, but ugh. Can we get that 60? If we do survive, we get 60. Oh boy. I might just die right here. Can we get another stun in just for the shits and the giggles? 5.7. Gotta hop on that offer then. That's alright, man. Like King Pix, I'm gonna ask you then, as a person of interest, how much would you be willing to spend? Oh, 6T, baby. Nice. Damage increase. Alright. Obviously could be better if we got more stuns in there, but nonetheless it's really good. I thought you had another question, but I forgot what it was.
It was like, who do I remove from my Galgoria team?
Ooh, good question, good question.
To make space for another one. Because my Galgoria team is Pansy. Generally, it's Pansy, Mediana, Isolate for the heal reduction. Nyla for the heal reduction as well. Loman, Evan, and Brahardner. Okay. That's what I generally use.
Technically, if you want to do really well, especially if you got a secondary DPS, right? You are going to be looking at this team. Lias, Fall of Fray, Rebel Claws for the secondary DPS.
Yeah.
You're going to be looking at Estelle. you are going to be looking, unfortunately, not at Valence because you are going to go for Panzerung. But since you are doing 4, you can actually do this. If you have this, and then this could already work. The only downside is that you don't have enough heal rate reduction to really cope with what is thrown at you. However, if you do more damage than the heal rate already does, it's nothing super fancy. So the one thing that I would like to try is, once again, this is why you use presets, Galgoria. Because for this reason, Lysa's already doing what she should. We're just going to check. Even though this dude has absolutely no useful gear, we are just going to check how much Rebel Claws is able to do. Even without the heal rate reduction. You do have him maxed out. That's beautiful. We're gonna give some extra physical damage for whenever Pansy starts out. That might be interesting. This, that, and that. You don't have the S1, which means that in turn he won't be doing as much damage. The bigger question is, can he survive? Because if he can, no problem. We need some more Damahe. And we kind of stranded upon the fact that you will be investing into Rebel Claws, right?
Yeah. I'll do that, yeah.
Okay, definitely good choice. Because you will find out that he will perform. Because Galgoria is that one thing that your fastest clear depends on your secondary DPS. If your secondary DPS is not good, you will not clear.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright, in terms of survivability, let's look at things. I think Lias is definitely supporting. You could switch out Lias or even Fall of Frey for a Solid. One of the two. Maybe even both. It really doesn't matter. But okay, from the looks of things, Pansy is nearly one-shotting this thing right now. Beautiful. But unfortunately, your Rebel Claws just doesn't keep up with any kind of damage, and this thing is out healing. Well, not out healing, but he just doesn't do any damage, unfortunately. So the only way for you to possibly perform this one would be increase your Rebel Claws, because if he does damage, then obviously we would be looking at a way different fight. But never mind, we're clearing this. Why? Because Pansy just gets a slight window of opportunity and just blows this thing into Kingdom. Fuck. This is broken. But could you imagine that if Rebel Claws was slightly invested, because now you cleared 3, and I even think that we can clear 4 with this.
Perhaps.
And then the only thing that you have to do is get a Solar Stone on your Loman.
Okay.
And then because Pansy already gives some heal rate reduction, same goes for Fall of Frey. And it's not optimal, right? It's not the best thing, but it will still allow you to do what is necessary. Oh, and you have something that we need to preset here. Loma gives part of his magical defense up to the rest of the people, and the same goes for magical block, which is useful for T5 Dark. Absolutely useful stuff. Which means this in turn is going to help you out. And then we gotta figure out, like, oh, you got some artifacts that will then increase your overall damage capacity, which in turn will smoke everything. This would not be useful here. This would be more useful. Then we got Lias. Lias is good for some extra stun for no reason. You got Pocket Watch and Estelle. Do we have anything else? Well, changing this up. There, preset, Galgoria, and for what I've told the people as well is anything over 4 is useless. Because I have some people like, oh, I want to clear Galgoria 9. Yeah, it's good to have it on your checklist. It was Rebel Claws that started all this. I also guess that I can get $40 max is what I'll do for Eclipse since it takes time. Yeah, I get that one. I need to make a poll on that one. for if people want to invest into that one, because I'm not quite sure. Yep, Rebel Claw's getting that real big whooping. The hell. But luckily now with Lias we are surviving, so that is one. We are doing some damage, but yeah, Vanzi just gets nicked out of her capabilities of doing anything at this point. We could, however, try out a different build on Valance so that Rebel Claws also gets CS1. Which in turn will let Rebel Claws do more damage. He is barely doing damage, yo. Truth be told, he's just a 2-star. And he doesn't even have TM gear. So I am not surprised he isn't doing anything. But do keep in mind that within time he will. Oh, and the one thing that we aren't doing right here is have Estelle onto any heal rate reduction of her own, which then in turn would turn more damage into this. So technically I think we can get 100% heal rate reduction on this team without even using a solid. Sad. Sorry man, I cannot tell you any other way. Oh boy, is Rebel Claw's gonna die. Can we get some pansy damage please? This is otherwise gonna take forever. Oh, S1. Oh, can we get an S3 in the contrast? Nope. But this thing is nearly dying. How come? Well, this dude hasn't invested into Rebel Claws yet. Which could be said like, oh, it's a mistake. No, he just wants waifus. And I get it. There you go. We got 4 cleared, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, with very unoptimized stuff, but it works. So you can definitely use Rebel Claws to keep farming that. One thing that you will be looking out for on his TM gear is ignore defense. Once you got that, this dude will do an obnoxious amount of damage, which will be unheard of. So the one thing that you could also do is, since you got so many experiment reports, we can already make Rebel Claws' gear. So let me know. You want me to build him?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go and get his unique weapon up to the absolute maximum. There is a need, but not a necessity. So I would like to give his unique weapon up to at least a 4-star to get this started. But the real question is, how much is he going to add to his account? And that is a question that is not easily answered, because I'd rather invest into supports a little bit more instead of another main DPS, but trying to get himself a very fast Galgoria 4 clear with the amount of stamina that he has, it might be beneficial. I keep forgetting that we're not lucky. 5 is doable. Like, the dude has the opportunity, but if I look at the current failure rate, I don't even want to go all that high up. I really don't. Because could it work? Yes, 100%. But from the basic standpoint, and this is what I use as a let's say a general rule of thumb, is that if you keep failing at some point like this, just stop for today and go about it another day, because I don't know how else to put it. Finally, all right. If we could one tap this would be beautiful. Of course, I'm asking for too much, because he got so many supports that he could be investing into. Because Estelle's one of them. He got Elias to invest into a little bit. He got Isaiah to invest into. So there's more than one character that will allow him to do better. And like my dude is saying, like, he's not afraid to spend a little bit of cash whenever it's beneficial. But then the real question is, does he know, or do we know what would be? Damn it. Okay, I predict 2 more max. Because this could also be used on a Elias, could be used on an Isaiah, which will then increase his overall capacity like a lot more. All right, 21%. Just let me have it. Damn it. Sorry, my dude. I am so happy that I did get more luck yesterday on my own account.
It's all good.
I'm sorry, bro. That was uncalled for.
Can control it as well.
Yeah, man. It's the RNG state of things, man. This game is crazy. But we're already 2.5.
I have a bunch of soul weapon ticket things. Where should I use those?
Ooh, for starters, May. May is the one that if you get their very first soul weapon, that one is godlike.
Right.
That one is about one of the craziest ones that will increase your overall gear. The other one could be Fall of Fray, because the bigger your shield is, the bigger your survivability becomes. But yeah, with just the A0, I don't think the overall stats are going to look that well. Just let me have it then. What the okay, I'm getting frustrated. Maybe we should try a relog again. Sometimes I hate my own mind, man. It's crazy. Alright, attack increase. There you go. Come here. 30%. That is bad luck. Yo, talk to me about it. Yo. Stop. Now, this will be the point where I would tell people to stop, but I'm a gambler at heart. If by any point, my dude, if you want me to stop, let me know.
No, I would be doing the same.
Oh, he is equally as much of a gambler as I am, if not more.
So how do you think that I got my pansy to 5-star?
Oh my goodness gracious, man! I said what? Like 1 or 2 more, but this is turning into a bloodfest, man. What? I cannot. Oh man, the agony. The pain, yo, I know we're bringing this account up to newer heights, man, but yo, at this point, this doesn't even feel good anymore, but we got him. So, beautiful. The one thing that he would need is some penetration, because he doesn't have anything of that. So, to get up to the ignore defense part where he will be doing damage, we will need not 1 but 2. Like he got what, 420 of this. So this will be ignore defense from him, for his side. And just to show you guys the capacity and the difference, yo, people in the chat were like, yo, stop, this pain is too much, I cannot bear to watch this. I get it, my boys. I get it. I got nothing else to say to that. This was hurtful. My pride is taken into this one. It's crazy. So the question is, can he get over 200 million damage per second? If he gets that, then we are looking at something absolutely beautiful. Because last time we did not even have the ignore defense part of things. Here goes S3. Can we see Damahe? Well, it at least doubled his damage on a singular hit. That's beautiful. And now we'll see the luxury of him actually dying to no reason. But so far his damage actually tripled already by just adding the few things that we are looking at. If not, it's even more than triple. That's really good. So that plus the right TM skills, oh man, we are looking at one thing that does an obnoxious amount of damage, and you'll be having the luxury of getting reclaimed gear, or lucky to have the reclaimed gear as well. So then the characters that you should be working on in order, in my opinion, start working on your Estelle a little bit, then invest into Isaiah, and then fully invest into, or not fully invest, but similarly invest into Elias. Once you got those characters, you might be looking into Shay, and then you will be able to do Apocalypsion, and that will be your absolute end game. Okay, so we nearly quadrupled his damage already by just adding the few unique weapons that we did, or a lot. I don't want to call it a few after this point. Oh man, it's so bad.
Generous amount of unique weapons.
Oh man, yo, it's not even Christmas yet. There you go. But literally increases damage by an obnoxious amount, which is good. What we could do is try and go for some TM gear on his side. Dude, you got so much things that I can use in this account to increase it to an extent where I'm like, yup, let's do everything.
Go for it. I mean, at this point, just go for it.
You do it. Stop talking. Okay. I've seen your RNG side of things, man. I just want to give you your money's worth. So the one thing that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna build them on the 100% rate. I don't want to look anywhere further onto blowing these things up, man. So warrior, we go for earring first. If this is a reclaim, then everything that has happened before is going to be better. But ignore defense. Yoink. What is the best UT for Rebel Claws and PvP? UT4, my dude. We did get crit on that one. Beautiful. So that's one piece. Then we go for secondary gear because I want this dude to survive Galgoria. Yoink. Attack and critical damage. Now this in turn is a very good roll, so I like that. And we're just going all ignore defense. This is the best way to go. And for the last piece, unfortunately, you will have to do the 100% route once again because of the lucky factors. But we're going ignore defense on this one. We're going critical on that one. That's pretty good. Ignore defense. Okay, so we gotta lock these ones down. Unfortunately, it's not fully reclaimed yet. But the one thing we could technically do is just yank this one on it. Attack per enemies, whatever, that's one enemy. This way you get extra damage, but the real question is, does it do enough? He might not have enough crit. How's the penetration? Penetration is good, actually too much for what I can tell. We should get 150 by the perk. So we can actually use rune and go back to an attack one. Then we will have 420 plus 420. Wow, we are literally lacking 1 penetration or 10 penetration. Should have done the calculations a little bit better. MP recovery per attack. Let's go attack, baby. We might even be able to get some penetration on his on one of his UTs. Attack speed, magical defense. Well, at least he would survive them, but attack speed. Well, it's an offensive stat, that's for sure. Magical block. I don't even know how many Galgoria pieces we have left to do this. Yes. Near attack roll. We're gonna keep it. But now this one. Okay, so we don't have many shots of this, but we are going to try and go ahead and do this. We're taking this max HP roll for now because we don't have an unlimited amount of tries. Attack roll instant. Okay, taking it. Yoink. Critical damage attack. That one is done already. Now we get this magical defense and we are going to try and get this one out. And obviously in terms of optimizing, my dude, there's so many things that you can do, but I'll give that to you as homework.
No, no worries.
Now let's see if we can get another attack, critical damage, or penetration for that matter. We should have gotten that debuff accuracy because it wasn't max roll. HP on the other hand would allow you to survive a little bit better due to Galgoria still doing a lot of damage. Critical damage, we're taking that. So it is not optimized to any degree, but wait, we can do it the dumb way. Yes, Techno Magic here, beautiful. Give me a penetration, please. Crit, penetration, pen. There you go. We got the penetration that is required, and this is one of the easiest things that you can do on a newer account or a returning account, is get these base stats in here. So we're looking at an attack for the earring, and we'll do the same for Pansy because we have not done that yet as well. Attack speed, P, dodge, and dodge, attack. Beautiful. Okay. Now, to increase our overall capacity as well, there's another thing that might be very beneficial, and that is technomagic enhancements. And we are going to upgrade Pansy first, because she's the main damage dealer. And at least always upgrade your main DPS's stats all the way up to maximum with the earring. One thing that you should never forget. Unfortunately, we don't have much more than that, but it will allow us to get to the point of reclaimed stat. There we go. That's one. Now we got to make this reclaimed. Take magic restoration. Luckily, you got so many of the experiment reports that will allow you to make several pieces of gear. But this will increase Pansy's damage even further than what you already had. Okay, so does that answer the rest of your questions, man?
For the most part, for now, I think so, yeah.
Okay, very good. Want to double check the rebel clause again? Let's go for it.
Yeah, sure.
So I am quite convinced that this dude will be able to do, I think, about double the damage of what he did before. I'm guessing double. I'm not 100% sure, but could be. And here we go. Yoink. Damage. So first hit is already for almost 40 million damage per second. That's beautiful. Didn't have any buffs yet. Yoink. We're already at 100. Looking beautiful. Soul weapon hasn't even popped yet. I said double, right? Last time was 100.
It was indeed.
Mm-hmm. Zero says, what is Christmas anyway? Are we friends? But everybody's my friend. Except for the ones that aren't. If that makes sense. You let him have it, Rebel Claws. Oops. He's not waifu, but yo, I'm still getting happy seeing this kind of damage.
Yeah, same.
And that with a relatively low investment.
That's true. That's true.
And he's still
in the right things.
Yep. And there you go. Looking like a quite solid run, man. I'm not sure whether it is 100%, but this is about it. So at this point, I don't know, man. Rena, you have any questions for me that I still haven't addressed?
I think for now, it should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It should be fine. I mean, I got a general sense of it. I think what I will maybe struggle a little bit is like, with other heroes, it's just what stats are good for them, I guess.
Okay. Good question. So, on a general note, you gotta look at what the content is that you're gonna use them for.
Yeah.
Because let's say you want to clear the Trial of Sky, then you gotta know like, oh shit, I got 3 support, 1 damage dealer. Now the damage dealer needs to survive nonetheless, so you need a lot of HP and a lot of damage to make him survive, right? But on the other end, you know that all the other characters will need to take that damage as well, and how can you let them survive? Well, Trial of Sky has physical damage, which means that if you take HP, physical block, P defense, and P block defense, then you are good, right? And you gotta tune it down here and there, you gotta try some things out, but that is in a general sense of what you need. If you look at Apocalypsium, for instance, like, for one, best thing that you can do, get a bracelet, or not a bracelet, get a necklace, because the necklace has a lot of base magical defense stat. But the same general thing that you can use, instead of the P block defense, you take M block defense, and magical defense, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that you need. And there are obviously some things that you could tweak here and there, but for a general rule of thumb, that should be the best. Because I can give you all the exceptions to that rule and show you things to min-max your characters, but it would be not beneficial to you right now. I'm just going to show you a little bit, because Elias, for instance, benefits from having full magical defense due to the S4, right? Same thing would happen if you upgrade her attack. That would also benefit the rest of the team, because part of her attack will transfer into magical defense. So attack and magical defense for Elias is the one thing that you need, right? So she's an exception. If you look at Fall of Frey, her shield scales with attack. Does that mean that you can run her without any magical defense in Apocalypsion? No, which then means in turn that you will need yourself a necklace to allow her to survive. Right, so there's an exception. And if you look at Valence, for instance, like, it doesn't matter what you slap on her as long as you get that HP and the respective physical or magical counterpart to it, right? But if you look at a similar character that works relatively the same, then Estelle would be quite the same. The only downside is that her unique weapon will grant herself the Adventurer's Guide part for X amount of time, which in turn will give you more duration of the buffs. But the problem with that is if you don't have a high upstar unique weapon, you need a lot of attack speed to make that buff 100% uptime. So there are a lot of intrinsic gimmicks that you want to know about to make your characters to do the best. But here's the thing. If you look at my Apocalypsion game, my dude, and I'm doing it the maximum of maximum, my lines make no sense. I got debuff accuracy on like 7 of my characters that they don't even need there. But I have the luxury, honestly, because that's something that I have to mention, that my artifacts are just unheard of. I got nearly every artifact nearly maxed out. So that in turn will allow me to live. So you got, in that sense, a little bit of a harder time looking for more optimal stats, better gear lines and such than I do. But that in a general sense is how you gear characters.
Yeah, fair.
So
the only one more thing is for guild battles, what should be my 4-man team for that?
4-man team, oof. That is a rough one.
I have at the moment.
Okay, I would go for Shockman, Panzeron. You go for, well, I'm a little bit double-edged in this one. I would go for May, 100%. And then the bigger question is who would be more beneficial. I think Valence will be more beneficial because she lowers cooldown on Pansy. And if Pansy's cooldowns are lowered, she will become way stronger. So if you get those as a 4-man team, you're done.
Okay. Should I use May before I have her UW or
Who?
May? Should I use her before the unique weapon?
Yes, because yes and no, because you asked me the other question, like, oh, what do you use my soul weapon on? Well, for one, the one that you should be using her on is May, because May's soul weapon, even on A0, is really potent. Better on A2, obviously, but yeah, that is something that might not be reachable within the next couple of weeks. But once you got her unique weapon and her soul weapon, she'll be off the charts. Absolutely the craziest character in the game when it comes to adding damage value to the rest of your team. And if I look at it cleanly, you got 2, 3.5.
Yeah, about 3.5.
You got 4.5 actually. Which means that you need 2.5 more to get yourself a May to A2, which is probably one of the best investments that you can do in an account such as yours, because think about it like this. With a slight amount of investment, you will be able to clear the Trial of Sky 10, and with May on an A2, you'll be able to clear Trial of Flow quite nicely. The only thing that you would need is your Isolde a little bit more invested to make sure that she survives.
Yeah.
But once you do that, you can start building your supports up like very, very vividly, which will be such a huge investment, because if you do the Trial of Flow, Trial of Sky, those two, oh man, like it will offset your account so well. So that being said, I think if you focus on those things, then you should be just fine. Any other?
I was taking notes about things. So
awesome.
A lot of stuff written down.
Awesome, very good. So, any other questions, man?
No, honestly, that's all.
Awesome. So,
it's all good.
We're gonna close it off. Gonna log out of the account. It was a blast trying this out, even though we filled a lot of unique weapons.
Shit happens.
It happens, man.
So
glad you could join me in the voice chat, man. I had a blast. Hope you did too.
Same.
So anyway, for the guys, if you've seen anything that might be questionable, put it down into the comments. Let me know. If you guys have any questions, put it down there as well. I will try to answer each and every last one of you. As for Rena, yo, thanks you for giving me the faith on your account and just allowing me to do this stuff, as well as just joining me on the voice chat as well. It's been a blast, and I'll see you guys into the next one. Signing off. Peace.